by Newsweek magazine. I think you said that this was the leaders who said that, who went with King and against Mr. Muhammad around 90%. I just told you a little while ago, these leaders that they call leaders, this included Lena Horne, this included Dick Gregory, and this included comedians, comics, trumpet players, baseball players. Show me in the white community where a comedian is a white leader. Show me in the white community where a singer is a white leader, or a dancer or a trumpet player is a white leader. These aren't leaders. These are puppets and clowns that have been set up over the white community and or over the black community by the white community and have been made celebrities and usually say exactly what they know that the white man wants to hear. And it is an honor, actually, that they endorsed Dr. Martin Luther King and were against the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's actually an honor. Now, when you say that they also, in the same Newsweek poll magazine, they, I think the pollster said that he went into the Negro community and asked about the Muslims. And many Negroes whom he asked said, well, I never heard of the Muslims. Who are they? You know,
this is the rank and file we're talking about.
Oh, yeah. Now, when they got down to the rank and file, this was the answers that they got. This is the equivalent to the situation in Kenya during the Mau Mau uprising, when many frightened whites in Kenya, Africa, would go among the Africans and ask them, what about the Mau Mau? And the African would say, I never heard of them. And the same white man who would ask the African this question and very naively believe what the African said, when he went to bed that night, he would lose his head. And usually the one who took his head was the same African who told him that afternoon he had never heard of the Mau Mau.
Except in the Newsweek poll, they used Negro interviewers.
You'll find that oftentimes Negroes are as much on guard around Negro interviewers, who usually represent the bourgeois element of Negroes, as they are on guard around whites. Usually Negroes know that when this bourgeois Negro walks through the door, he is not doing something that he's initiated himself, but he's involved in something in which the white man is the absolute author of.
Welcome to another episode of the Nick and CJ Show, and I'm one of your hosts. I'm CJ. What's up, Nick?
What's poppin', my friends, my family? Welcome back, Nick and CJ Live. I just saw this the other day, since we just played Malcolm X. This has been reported in quite a few stories. And I still gotta scroll through it. I'll just pull it up. I remember seeing it.
Yeah.
The two men acquitted of Malcolm X murder to receive $36 million. So that's interesting. That's interesting. And they're people that always maintained their innocence. I still think the government killed them. But anyway, you guys know what it is. People name like the real revolutionaries, people like you hear like Malcolm X, they're not living and having long, successful capitalist lives like John Lewis, right?
Yeah.
What's up, CJ?
But it's like white America transfers all of that emotional feeling about the real ones they killed onto these lackeys that are still alive. Or worse,
they look at Obama, they're like, Obama, the next Malcolm X. You guys see the liberal memes where they're like the great heroes of our time, and they'll have Barack Obama, then Malcolm X, and then MLK. I'm like, hey, one of those is not like the other, sir. Fucking white liberals, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. But we got some I mean, it's so many topics, but I guess the overarching sort of topic, which is the title of this, is the end of democracy, and which is going to happen November 8, 2022. Now, this is the narrative, of course, given by the Democratic Party, but I also want to kind of address or talk about the hypothetical. What does a post-democracy look like through their eyes? Because we've been living in a post-democracy era since what, 1776, Nick? So it's been post-democracy for us. So for the bourgeois or the petty bourgeoisie, democracy ends. Literally, this is what Rob Reiner says. So we're just going to be kind of examining what Democrats have been saying. Everybody's out kind of doing their thing, from the petty bourgeois to the white media. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, everyone's busy trying to tell us that this is the most important election of our lifetime on both sides. Both of them are absolute fucking clowns. Look, here's one example. Look out there, find it quickly. Because I'll be seeing these things, and sometimes I forget to tag them, but this one luckily was
Me
easy to
too. Me
find.
too.
Look at this. You see so many articles like this. Biden casts midterms as defining moment for American democracy. So apparently, our democracy is thriving so much. When you show up to vote on Tuesday, you have the choice between one party that want to fund Nazis in Ukraine, want to fund the police more, want to send weapons to Israel, or the other party that don't want to. That they want to do the exact same thing. There's no difference here. Goldman Sachs wins every single election. But go ahead, CJ.
But it's to me, and this is pre-discussion. This is just our warm-up. So we haven't did a chat check, but it's unique, or it's very surreal, eye-opening. I'm not sure the right word, that how for literally white America, this is democracy ending for them. Like even for the framing to work. You get what I'm saying? Like the framing doesn't work on you and I, because we understand that like we live in an oligarchy, we live in everything but a democracy.
Okay. Remember how we explained before how they would say things and it's like code in the ruling class, but they present it as meaning something else for the workers. For example, They would say stuff like, China is a threat to the United States. They're not lying when they say that. When they say that, they're saying China is a threat to their capitalist dominance. China's not a threat to us. But when you watch that, they just want you to fill in the lines, right? They want you to fill in line whatever you think the threat would be. But when they say that, it's absolutely ridiculous for you to fear China for the same reason the oligarchs do. So the same with democracy. When they say our democracy is at threat, the only thing they're talking about is their political power. My political power is at threat. And then they want you to fill in the lines. They want you to fill in the bubbles with whatever you think democracy being at threat means. And a lot of people fall for, oh my God, democracy at risk, even though we only got two choices, even though we elected you can elect a president despite one president winning millions of votes. It's been shown that white suburban voters and studies have about 1.6 times more voting power than the average black person in this country. Our voting system is straight up rigged. And people get mad. I remember the Combo Couch and Fiorella, they did great reporting, and they did good stories about how our democracy is rigged. Really well done reporting. And they was exposing how democracy was rigged and how they screwed Bernie Sanders. And I saw a lot of Bernie supporting shit lips. Like people who like Bernie, like, oh my God, you can't say that. I'm like, we are explaining how our system cheated the guy you support. So, and I saw this, they would defend
it doesn't make any sense.
The system while throwing Bernie. I see like so many people in the Bernie movement was attacking them for doing that, attacking anyone. I remember on being on the campaign trail like this shit fucking rigged. And they were, oh no, you can't say that. You can't say that. We saw the shadow app in Iowa.
Hey, this is our most left. This is our most left person in Congress. Does it look like she's afraid that democracy is going to end? This is what she's tweeting about. Like literally, she went on a tweet storm about just anything and everything but what's important. Go ahead, Nick.
Dude, I love how you mentioned how this is the class struggle of their time.
Yes,
like the blue checks fighting Elon Musk. They think these blue check shit lib Twitter liberals. They think that battling Elon Musk has been fighting a class war. Oh my God, one billionaire owned the social media company compared to the other billionaires. Right. Oh my God,
what's the difference? What's the difference in the Washington Post? What's the difference in Bloomberg? What's the difference? Like it's the AOC same thing that happens everywhere.
If you're not on Twitter right now, AOC and a bunch of shit libs are like, "Oh my God, my preferred capitalist does not own Twitter anymore." Let's go back to Facebook where Mark Zuckerberg owns it. Like billionaires own the means of production. Do you guys understand? Why do you guys think we advocate for the dictatorship of the proletariat? Why this is always will be the end result, and asking for the reform of having a more benevolent capitalist take over is clown shit. It's clown shit.
Nick, it's a pop. You have to. we may have to interject some propaganda knowledge in this stream, and I bring up Edward Bernays, but we have to understand, in order for mass people to believe these things, it's conditioning from a long time. So they've been propagandized from a long time ago. So you almost don't blame them, but then again you do, because we were propagandized the same way, and we were able to kind of at least claw our way to the point to where we're seeing through this stuff. But propaganda is a bitch, man. It really is, especially when you lace it throughout everything, like literally through everything.
And think about
And that's what was smart about capitalists. That's what was smart. They laced it through every single thing. Go ahead,
dude. And I saw so many of the NATO left, the people who we declare war with, the people who worship the squad. I know these people now. I see them all the time. I seen them. They're like, "Oh my God, AOC's calling out Elon Musk on Twitter." They're like, AOC is taking the fight to Elon Musk. I swear to God, it was so crazy. I saw some person, he had like 1,000 likes on the tweet. He was like, "Oh my God, why is the gray zone Jimmy Dore left not backing up AOC?" And it had a ton of likes. This is their fight. This is their fight. Fight Elon Musk on Twitter. Like my friend Diddy said, AOC talking more about Twitter than the war in Ukraine. We had to call her out. We had to show up to her spot.
That's so true.
We had to show up to her spot. Like, we demand an answer, a statement, something, motherfucker. Meanwhile, she get into Twitter disputes with Ted Cruz all the time. And now she got this Twitter dispute with Elon Musk, and you know she loving it. And this is why Elon Musk is an idiot. Like, AOC is loving it. She was getting like 200,000, 300,000 likes per tweet. Elon Musk was doing good too, because they both big polarizing figures. So AOC was loving it, especially after the Ukraine war call out. After she needs something else to distract from that. And now she got this beef with Elon Musk. And imagine the shit lib, the NATO left that we do not fuck with. We declare war on these people. The NATO left, the people like Slay Queen, AOC, they're the people who see this political theater. They see politicians arguing on Twitter, and they're so deeply unserious, they actually think that actually matters in terms of meeting our material needs. They love the political theater. That's why they love electoral politics. There are people who just love the 2-year thrill. Oh my God, hitting the campaign trail. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a way of life. It's a way of life for people. And it's a lot like people, for example, like Breaking Points. Like, it's a way of life for them. But just since we're kind of, I know we haven't even really got started, but since we kind of already talked about Elon, let's see the person of color representative for the PMC class. It seems like if she's hanging around these people now. So let's listen just a snippet of what she says. This is not the whole clip. I fast forwarded to a particular part of the tweet that we just saw. Let's listen to how she describes the same tweet.
Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez joined the conversation. Let's take a look at what she put out there. LMAO, laughing my off, okay? At billionaires earnestly trying to sell people on the idea that, quote, free speech is actually $8 a month subscription plan. I'm with you, Congress lady, really trying to sell that. But then we got Ben Shapiro, who just had to chime in on what the Congresswoman said. Free speech does not mean that services must be free of charge. You use your phone.
I'm gonna let it play. I'll be really quick. But
no, that's good. That's it. I was gonna stop it. There. We don't need to continue. That was just a snippet. Go ahead.
I told you guys, these people obsess over Ben fucking Shapiro. Guys, the very small fraction of this population that listen to Ben Shapiro, it's a waste of our time to try and win these people over. Like, Ben Shapiro has 5 million subscribers. A lot of people listen to him.
Their go-to is Ben and Tucker. Ben and Tucker, but Ben more so maybe.
That's
their go-to.
A very small segment. Like that, it's just lack of revolutionary discipline, a movement building discipline. There's 50% of this country that does not vote. And people say, oh, well, we got to call Ben Shapiro because we want to drag people to our side. No, how about motivate the people who are not engaged in politics, the people who got left behind? How about use your platform? And despite, I don't make Ben Shapiro videos, but I got a lot of right wingers who like, damn, who've been shifted by my positions. because you advocate for policy. They always like they pretend they are holier than thou, that they're doing true reporting. Can they just be honest? Can they just be honest? The reason why they talk about Ben Shapiro is because they take advantage of the algorithm and they want the clicks.
Yeah.
Not because it's important. They would start and they would try to justify the conclusion they already made. We got to make Ben Shapiro videos, so let's justify it. And Cal Kalinske, I heard him say the same thing. Well, we have to engage Ben Shapiro, or Ben Shapiro going to continue radicalizing people. We have to engage Ben Shapiro for this reason. No, just be honest. You just want the engagement because there's no value in coalition building. Because they didn't, and you want to know why I know? They've been doing this for like 7, 8 years. The Dave Rubin videos, the Ben Shapiro videos. Where's the state of the left right now? Have been doing these anti-Ben Shapiro videos. Is the state of the left strong for doing this after 8 years? No.
This is the problem this is the problem with having well-off white left. Maybe they're well-meaning. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Well-meaning people maybe. But it's a tremendous blind spot. Just think about it, Nick. If you didn't grow up in the issues with poverty, the problems of racism, of sexism, whatever ism that comes with it, you didn't grow up with any, escaping police violence, like that type of thing, murders and killings in your neighborhood, this type of thing, underfunded schools. All of that has never been in your existence other than reading something on a book. So we're expecting those people to advocate accurately and appropriately for people who have experienced those things. They just simply can't. However well-meaning they are, however many books they read, they just simply cannot do that.
They can't.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. If you guys want to understand what my point is, why would anyone cover Ben Shapiro more than they are covering Eric Adams? Eric Adams is a fascist disaster that is waging class war on the working class of New York, illegally raiding homeless camps. Don't allow them to frame the law. What he's doing is illegal, and now they're trying to justify it. What do
you mean, homeless camps? That's what they want. Have you heard what Anna's take on homeless? What do you mean, man? What do you mean? Why are they going to call him out for that, Nick? They want that. Have you heard Cenk?
Yeah, that's a good point.
When every time he's referring to LA, he's using terms not to sort of rile you up. So he's not going to say it's homeless people everywhere. He just says it's dirty and trash everywhere. That's what he's referring to.
That's exactly right. Right.
So he's enforcing what the petty bourgeoisie want to be enforced, so they can feel like who they aspire to be.
And I could be wrong. I could be wrong, and you guys let me know. But something tells me that Nina hasn't done a video exposing NATO crimes into Africa. I don't think she did a video explaining what AFRICOM is and Joe Biden intervention into Somalia. I could be wrong. Let me guys know. Let me know. But I highly suspect that they never discuss these kind of things. But Ben Shapiro is top of their mind.
Now I think she's better than most, but she still has to throw in her red meat. But let's look at it for ourselves.
Let's see.
How Republicans. So that one is it's red blue, but it's not crazy like Ben Shapiro. But then it's senseless conservatives target mail-in ballots, so it's red blue game again. Then it's Biden cracked down on predator junk fees.
So Biden propping up video.
Right. And then racist conservative target affirmative action. You see, it's all red meat. It's all class. It's all culture war. Sorry. Then, of course, here's one of her billionaire Musk videos. That's one of many, by the way. Fed chair, inflation, strains worker. Now, this one, that's from the title. I haven't seen it. From the title, I would say that would be something that should be addressed. Fed chair.
The one next to that on the right, the high prices force millions to ration insulin. That's a good segment. But even the good segments you guys do, Joe Biden literally lifted Trump's executive order on insulin prices.
Right. And that's not in that story. We're not going to watch it. But I guarantee you that's not in there.
I'll give her benefit of doubt. I'll give her benefit.
Okay, so you're gonna give her. Okay, so then you got Charlie Crist.
I'll give her benefit of doubt. You guys make your own decision. You guys make your own mind up.
Charlie Kirk is in the realm with Ben Shapiro. Would you say
Yeah, that's no, he's exactly the same. Exactly the same.
Same. So there goes one of those.
I think
and
the
then-
biggest ones are Charlie Kirk, Steven Crowder, and Ben Shapiro. Those are the
Yes.
three big. Those like the new.
Talking
That's like the
heads,
Rush
yeah.
Limbaugh, Bill O'Reilly of our time. And I'll show you guys my age. Like those are the people I always think of. And people think the right has changed, and the right has always been a group of Christian neo-fascists, right? And they
Yes.
pretend that the right wing escalated. Like no, Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, they were just the new Rush Limbaugh and Bill O'Reilly. Nothing has changed. So to me, it's always weird when people say, "Oh my God, there's a new Republican Party." You mean the one that spawned from George W. Bush? Guys, I grew up under these people. They are the people
They
that
act like they're
literally
going to sound
radicalized
the
me.
same. They have to modify their voice and the way they say the same thing for the new audience. They act like Steven Crowder is going to sound just like Rush Limbaugh. They're not. They're going to adjust how they talk,
Yeah,
they
exactly.
speak, how they relate to the current medium space, and that's
Yep.
what you're seeing. It's the same thing being reinvented. The problem is there's nothing that has been replicated since the assassination of a lot of our leaders on the
TJ.
left. Go ahead.
You want to know why? I was talking on Colin. We had a good conversation on Colin. It was a fun night. We had
I
Ron
can take this
join.
down now. Take this down.
Put it back up for a second. Put it back up. For a
Okay,
second.
okay.
I remember we were mentioning someone said that they actually enjoyed our long streams because we do a good job covering all the stories. And I'm like, yeah, I don't understand how someone can cover like the Brazilian election and do like an 8-minute segment on it.
I see it.
Like, you guys know how much information, and I was having fun. We were joking on Colin Revolutionary Discord. You should join. It was like 110 people at one point. It was like we had like eight members of the community roundtable, and I was like, Matt, the reason why our video is so long, like I gotta cover so many angles. I gotta explain what the West is lying about. There's an 8-minute video on Lula, which I'm not dissing her for that, but the reason why they do that is because they don't really dive into policy, because Nina Turner and her faction of the NATO left, they would call Lula a Putin puppet if he was saying what he's saying about NATO and the United States. The U.S. left all support arming Taiwan. They all demonize China. John Fetterman, during his debate, said that China is the #1 geopolitical threat to the United States. That he's a fucking neocon. Lula directly rebukes that. And he was the one who invited China into BRICS. He's the one who wanted to expand and grow the relationship with China. So it's like when you do this video on Lula, Nina, are you explaining this to people? When I see that 8-minute video and scroll over the thumbnail, because it looks like she's interviewing someone too. So scroll over the thumbnail.
Yeah, it's a I don't know her name. We can click on it to see her name just in a
So it's like,
but she's part of the TYT network, and so she's like a co-host that goes to different shows, and she kind of co-hosts. That's how they groom them to get their own show. I'm sure she's going to get her own show. So right now she's co-hosting on different shows right now, and this is.
Oh yeah, that one was rough, man. Richard Wolff was on some bullshit for that one, and because I subscribe to Democracy at Work or whatever, and that showed like Richard Wolff like boomer tendencies. I love Richard Wolff, man. I like Richard Wolff. I can talk shit on him every once in a while, but he had Anna Kasparian on his show. He was like, Anna, explain to me what's going wrong with our economy and the pain that workers are feeling. And then everyone in the comments was roasting him like, Richard, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Why you invite Anna Kasparian to do this?
Yeah.
And he invited Emma Vigeland on like last year. And I remember the Mike Gravel boys, they got mad at me. They unfollowed me. I was like, what the fuck? You guys got close with Emma Vigeland and Richard Wolff got close with Emma Vigeland. I'm like, you guys got to do a better job at fucking vetting these people, bro. I like Richard Wolff, though. I can talk a little shit on him, but I like him overall.
Yeah.
But that was a horrific guest choice. I say that. Anyway,
yeah, and we have just as a side note, we have to be able to understand that everybody's like, y'all gonna disagree on us, y'all gonna think we have bad takes on stuff. Like that's fine. Like it's not like a deal breaker. But yeah, let's do a quick chat check. Any good comments you see, Nick? I'm gonna look at the likes right now, and then we'll, believe it or not, we hadn't even gotten to the main part. We was just kind of warming up before we got started. But let's see how many likes we're at. Let's see how many views we're at. And then we'll throw some comments up to see how everybody is doing. Any questions they got before we get started. We're at 107 likes. We got 260 people watching. So could we push that to 200 likes? If we push that to 200 likes, that'll get at least 50 more people in the chat. 200 more, or push to 200 total likes. Get some more people in the chat. And also, if you're watching this on replay and wish you had this, was able to watch this live, join our Substack and you can get notifications of when we go live. Here is our subscriber count the last time you and I streamed on here, Nick, and let's see what the updated subscriber count is. Wow, we've been doing pretty good. So that's where it was at. This is where we are, almost 100 more. So this is where we're at now. We're trying to get to 30,000 is the target that we're focused on right now. So liking this video will help us get there, and subscribing. Now, Nick, I tweeted out to you. I texted you that my Populist Voice channel was unsubscribed from RBN because I had uploaded those clips last night or last evening, and then I went to go see them because I always go on the TV to make sure the spelling, because I'm a bad speller, make sure the graphic, and it wasn't in the feed, and I'm like, why the hell isn't it in the feed? And I go and it's like, it's not even followed. I'm like, what
bro, YouTube is fucking us up, bro.
What the fuck is
I would see like random comments that's super weird, and that explains a lot. Because I'll see someone like, "Hey, I'm glad you guys are back." What are you talking about? I literally think that like maybe a handful of times. Like, what are you talking about? So YouTube has been unsubscribing people from us. I've been told countless times people have been unfollowed from me on Twitter. Yeah, there's a lot of shady shit that goes on with these companies. So I hopefully you guys can show some solidarity and share and spread the word, because we're not being boosted by the algorithm like the old left media was. So we appreciate all the support. But go ahead, CJ.
Absolutely. Let's just see if any comments here. Michael Hudson has solid answers. We actually had him scheduled for one. Which summit did you have him scheduled for? He had to reschedule. I think it was the Imperialist Summit.
Yeah, I do think it was the Imperialist Summit as well. I think that.
Richard Wolf had Tom Hartman. He is just terrible. Tom Hartman is just terrible now. That's the guy. That's the avenue I came up through. I didn't come up through the TYT avenue. I came up through the Tom Hartman avenue. Go ahead.
Sorry, I just we were talking earlier. I literally completely forgot. I also have another segment. I tweeted about it. I wanted to watch the debate on Democracy Now! Between the CIA guy. So I'm not. We can say this for later. I literally just I gotta say it. I can pull it up. I don't know why I completely forgot about it. So another segment we're gonna do. I checked this out. It's funny. Right after Bree debated what's his name, Rod, whatever fuck that snowflake name was. And apparently, Democracy Now! Had a debate between Bernie Sanders, foreign policy advisor like Matt Duss or something like that, Matt Trust, something like that, and he was debating Ronald Reagan's. No, not Ronald Reagan, but George Bush Sr. And then some people told me he worked under a few administrations. He was a former CIA guy. The Bernie Sanders foreign policy advisor was debating the CIA officer, and you'd be surprised which one was advocating for peace.
The CIA officer.
I'm gonna cover it later. But when they announced the debate, we got foreign policy advisor for Bernie Sanders, and they're gonna debate Russian policy, and he's gonna talk to a CIA officer. I was like, nigga, who's gonna advocate for peace here? and apparently Ray McGovern, the guy he debated, ever since he quit government, has been a strong anti-war voice. So hey, maybe people change. So I'm gonna cover that later. I watched like 6 minutes of it, and I was like, we definitely this is the Ray McGovern was on point, but Bernie Sanders, Matt Trust, foreign policy advisor, sounds horrible. Literally like a Ronald Reagan era neocon.
So this is obviously it's older though, right? This is not.
No, this happened yesterday. Yesterday. And he's horrible. Now we know why Bernie sucks so bad now. If this guy was Bernie Sanders, foreign policy advisor, once again, I'm spoiling too much. We cover that here soon. I'll probably say that for the last segment, I think, because I still got the video saved somewhere.
Yeah. So what I want to start with, Nick, is this video. And I'm bringing it up now. Oh, I can put it on the screen. This is actually something that surprised me. I saw this on CNN right
And
before.
that is my focus, is making sure we bring, common sense Democrats to Congress who are going to move our country forward. And let's be clear, again, $400,000 out of a $340 million budget.
Extreme freeze.
Wait, while it starts. So, that's the DNC head.
Why you
You know,
think
the
that
one that's.
Sorry,
Say
CJ,
again?
go ahead.
Did I freeze too?
You froze a little bit, but go ahead, CJ. I hear you.
Yeah, maybe I'll need to go out and come back in. But yeah, I can go out and come back in.
I'm gonna show you guys this because we about to
Yeah,
cover.
let me go out and come back in. You can talk about something else real quick, and I'll come right back.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you guys. I saw this earlier today, and there are all these questions that are being asked. I keep seeing these articles everywhere. I covered this article that was decrying the amount of black men who left the party, and now after Stacey Abrams, it looks like she's gonna get her ass kicked in Georgia. Now the mainstream media headline that's going around, they blaming black men. Oh my God, why do black men don't like Stacey Abrams? Why is Stacey Abrams struggling with the black vote? Now you also see this headline: why Democrats are losing Hispanic voters. And there's a story I'm gonna cover here soon because it relates to this midterm meltdown that Democrats have. They also losing white women. We're gonna get to that here soon, CJ. White women voters, despite the fact that Democrats try their best to be pro-police fucking capitalists to win the white women vote, still losing it. And that after Roe v. Wade. So they losing Hispanics, they losing white women, they always lost white women, but they losing black people. So what demographic are they not losing? You want to know why? The reason why I pulled this up, I thought this was funny. This is the messaging campaign that comes from the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is struggling with Latino and black voters, you say. I wonder why, you say. The Democratic Party is struggling to get young people out to vote, you say. I wonder why that
is. No, that's perfect for this segment. That goes with this segment because this is overarching part of the segment is that Democrats are telling us that this is the end of democracy. Are they serious? Is that video serious? Is that a video that shows that Beto O'Rourke is serious about democracy ending?
Doing dancing videos and everything will be all right. That was Beto's version of that.
Man, that was hilarious.
Fascism is around the corner.
Oh God.
Oh my God, democracy is ending. So fucking crazy.
Okay, so this is the video. Now it was. I just need to go out and come back. So this is the video. This is the top Dem faces tough race in New York. This is supposed to be a cakewalk for this guy. This is the whole reason why he picked this district and left the previous district he was in. Because this was the newly created district that should have went to Montere Jones. He should have been the one that ran in this. He's about to lose to the Republican, or he's on the verge of losing to the Republican. But what's very shocking to me is this question that Jake Tapper gives to this what's his name? Forget his name. Anyway, we can play it. Oops. Let me unmute it. Now play.
I have to ask you about something you said earlier this week. Let's roll that soundbite.
Let's not pretend for a minute that both sides have the same amount of accountability for the loss of confidence in our elections. One side has been out there for a couple of years now doing everything they can to pretend Joe Biden didn't win fair and square.
The thing is, Democrats writ large have spent $53 million supporting far-right candidates, election deniers in the primaries, including the DCCC, by amplifying these election deniers.
Did you see him? Now he's been carefully trained not to be shocked by a question, and that's what he was concentrating on. But you, as a human, it's a slight tell you can see in him when he hears the question. When it hits his consciousness, he goes like that. Go ahead.
I don't watch CNN a lot, but I remember cancel CNN was trending, And that was because a bunch of shit libs was like, oh my God, CNN is under new leadership. CNN is the new Fox News now. And I was like, what the fuck? It's, you know why they say that, guys? Because now CNN, they had like this direction change. And now they like, we're going to ask Democrats harder questions. Because it was like obvious that they was copying the MSNBC route. And when I say that, I cannot emphasize this enough. And you guys know. When they say they want to push back on Democrats enough, they are definitely not doing that. They are definitely still coming for the Democrat Party. But a bunch of K-Hive, still with her, Democrat shit lives on Twitter, they was melting down because CNN would start doing stuff like ask basic follow-up questions like that. Like the one, like that's not even a hard question.
Not at all.
Like if you're honest after that,
but he's
like,
the one responsible for it. He's the one responsible for it. That's why it's a good question. But he completely. Now this is a segment. I'm sure there might have been a longer segment where he got to talk about his campaign and all that stuff. But then they clipped just this 4-minute clip where they're asking him this question. And the title of the video, if you want to look for, is called "Tapper Presses DCCC Chair Over Dem Spending." You can look it up.
Yeah, and the only reason I said that because when you play the beginning of the video, you can rewind back to it. When he asked that basic follow-up question, that's the kind of question, I swear to God, they will use as an example and saying, oh my God, Jake Tapper, is he in the thing for the now? I swear to God, I've seen this stuff.
He's on Putin's payroll.
Like cancel CNN with training because of that. That's why I brought that up, because that was my first thing I thought when I saw that. But we can go back to the video.
What are you on Putin's payroll?
Asking a basic follow-up question. Oh my God, CNN, they are now shifting to the right.
Oh, okay. Let's play. Let's listen.
That both sides have the same amount of accountability for the loss of confidence in our elections. One side has been out there for a couple of years now doing everything they can to pretend Joe Biden didn't win fair and square.
The thing is, Democrats writ large have spent $53 million supporting far-right candidates.
That's the tail right there. That's the tail.
The DCCC. By amplifying these election deniers, aren't you holding responsibility to a degree for the undermining of democracy that you're also warning about?
Before he answers, what do you think the answer should be? What not should be? What do you think his answer is going to be? They're saying that, just think about what the Democrats are doing, because what Tapper does is present the point. If what you're saying is true and the election deniers are going to help democracy end, why the fuck are you funding them? And some of them are getting close to winning. You get what I'm saying? So that's the point that Jake is putting to him and making him, a rock and a hard place. But what's your take before he speaks out? I'm curious to think, how does he get out of this is what I'm asking you. How does he get out of this question?
Their go-to is saying, oh man, once again, you repeating Tucker Carlson, Trump talking points. Like, and there's no real good answer to that. That's such a devastating rebuke to.
He essentially says that without saying those words. You're repeating that. Now let's listen to what he says. Now, this guy is pretty slick because he's pretty good on his feet at last second, because you can see he's shocked when he sits back like this. That's him taking, okay, there's a different posture that is presented. This is adversarial now. So let's listen.
Oh my God, Jake, let's.
Oh my God,
clear. What that question you just played was about was who's questioning the outcome of elections, and that started with Donald Trump, and we all know.
Huh?
And let's be clear.
What?
That $53 million. Look, it's $400,000 at the DCCC in one race, where we ran a true general election ad.
So this is where he's pretending the DNC don't coordinate with all the super PACs. This is where he's pretending that part when he says that's why he's narrowing down to that amount. But Tapper is correct in using that amount as the Democrats. But you can tell that was such a terrible initial response that it was so weak. And so let's listen to him again, and then I'll let it play. And just let me know where you want to stop.
Really clear. What that question you just played was about was who's questioning the outcome of elections, and that started with Donald Trump, and we all know it. And let's be clear. That $53 million. Look, it's $400,000 at the DCCC in one race, where we ran a true general election ad 2 weeks early, calling John Gibbs an extremist who's too conservative for Western Michigan.
Yeah, to boost
and
him.
Hillary Scholten, who's a great candidate, is going to beat him like a drum. So if you want to ask the people who spent all that other money, that's great. And let's be clear, not one dime was spent from the DCCC supporting any Republican. It was spent criticizing a Republican for being too extreme, and it is going to result in a pro-choice, strong candidate named Hillary Scholten winning that race.
Come on. You guys were boosting John Gibbs, an election denier, a MAGA Republican, so that he would
Even he was like,
Congressman
dude.
Peter Meyer.
Like Jake Tapper said, wait, you think I'm gonna stop there? I got this whole picture set up. I got producers in the back.
Jake Tapper was like, this motherfucker must think I'm Boo Boo the Food, bro. You must think I ain't right.
You know why this is happening? This, to me, this is signaling that the Democratic establishment is tired of this motherfucker and saying, nigga, we gave you the reins and look at this. You fucked up and lost this race over here, Mondare over there, and got another, whatever situation is going to happen with that. Now you're losing your fucking race and you can't win. We're about to lose the House, and now it's shifting. We're about to lose the Senate, 360 or whatever it's called. That guy Nate Silver's 360 has now shifted the Senate to 88% Senate, 88% Republican, and we're gonna play that video. David Pakman came and did a video last night, damn near crying about this poll. We're gonna cover that video. We're gonna cover that video too. Yes, this is it's laughable. But let's listen to maybe 30 more seconds of this and see him trying to squirm out of this question, which is a very good question. But Nick, I'm to my point. This is speaking. If he's been given a green light to crucify him here by the Democratic establishment.
Yeah,
Go ahead, do your thing with that guy. Go do the
yeah,
thing.
they would never do that with Nancy Pelosi. They would never.
Oh no.
So that's a good point, CJ. I didn't think about that. That's a good point because he would never do this to Nancy or Chuck Schumer. I never seen it. But go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, he's been given a green light to crucify him. So let's listen to maybe 30 more seconds and see him try to squirm out and move on.
Who voted to impeach Donald Trump after the Capitol attacks. You thought Gibbs would be easier for your Democratic candidate.
He's like, damn, I thought this was going to be easy.
That's the only reason he won that race.
Well, you're using that word boost to be kind of cute. Other people say we're kind of funding
You're to be kind of cute. You see him, he's basically saying you're using these talking points. Oh, he's getting mad now. He's starting to lose his cool. That training he got, Nick. Let's rewind a second. Oh, that's hilarious to me.
You thought Gibbs would be easier for your Democratic candidate to beat, so you boosted him. That's the only reason he won that race.
Well, you're using that word boost to be kind of cute. Other people say we're kind of funding their campaigns. It's ridiculous. We're attacking them, but you're absolutely right. We thought he was an easier candidate, and he has proven to be because he's a nut and he's too conservative for Western Michigan. And Hillary Scholten is getting ready to beat him. And that is my focus, is making sure we bring, common sense Democrats to Congress who are going to move our country forward. And let's be clear again. $400,000 out of a $340 million budget. So if you want to warm up these leftovers, we can keep going. But right now we've got 5 or 6 days until we have an election.
Warm up these leftovers. You see how it's spewing out that he's freaking upset and he thought this interview was going to go a different way.
And that's where my focus is. And we're going to win that seat in Michigan 3.
Well, that $400,000 for John Gibbs did boost him, and he beat Congressman Peter Meyer. Peter Meyer, who did something braver than I've seen in terms of most members of Congress, in terms of bucking his party to be one of 10 Republicans to vote to impeach Donald Trump. When people like you say, where are all the good Republicans? You helped defeat one of them.
Jake, let's be clear. If your point is that I should, in some sort of exercise of defeatism,
the reason I laugh because we break down propaganda so enough where we know that's the tell.
Yeah.
Oh, Jake, let me be clear, guys. Whenever politicians say that, they are shook. Whenever they say that, they are shook. That's why I know, like, it's so
Oh,
obvious.
man.
I want to debunk his bullshit in real time because in the very beginning, I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" He deflects from the question. By the way, in the beginning, where he tries, you're like, "Well, the people that are denying elections are the Donald Trump supporters," and they say this shit. They say this shit like I don't got a good memory. They say
he was
shit.
shook though. He was shook. I mean, from the beginning of the interview, you saw how he was. He just kind of the first bad question. He just kind of went back like this, and then the next one was like, "You being kind of cute," and then at the end, he said something else. Man, he was pissed. He's pissed. He's like, "Man, you freaking putting me out on Front Street like this." Go ahead, Nick.
Yep, and this is the reality of the situation. Despite the collective amnesia that the entirety of the Democratic Party and the NATO left, because once again, the people who pushed Russiagate, the people who had Trump derangement syndrome, and the NATO left is a complete circle. I noticed this shit, guys. It's not by accident. They have a sick, toxic ideology that they think they're on the left, but they're influenced by Western chauvinism and capitalism. And so that leads them down the wrong path all the time. They think the Democratic Party is actually morally superior than the Republican Party when we all know they both trash. They actually believe that Trump is a unique threat because he denies elections, but this is the people they voted for. Here's the video. And yes, I know this came from Republicans, but the Republicans didn't customly create every one of these clips. The Republicans, like the same way I would use Democrat media to attack any capitalist. Hey, they just using their word for it. They just literally quoting them.
Yeah, they're just taking their clip and putting it together. That's what the Republicans did. They took your words and put it in one string of videos. Yeah, go ahead. The volume. Sorry, the volume.
You can't hear it.
Oh,
let me fix it.
Okay,
let me fix it. Damn, man, this audio set was completely different when I got this mic. Let me see if this works. I think it's this one. Here we go.
You can run the best campaign.
There we go. Now we can hear.
You can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
How can you win with Russian interference, though?
That's a real
what I'm
thing.
scared about in 2020.
But rightly.
Because I think he's an illegitimate president that didn't really win. So how do you fight against that in 2020?
You are absolutely right.
He's an illegitimate president in my mind.
Could you be my vice presidential candidate? Folks, look, I absolutely agree.
Trump didn't actually win the election in 2016. He lost the election, and he was put in office because the Russians interfered.
Trump knows he's an illegitimate president.
The president-elect, although legally elected, is not legitimate.
I don't see this president-elect as a legitimate president.
You said you believe that Russia's interference altered the outcome of the election.
I do. We have a president who, if in fact it is proven, has been assisted by the Russians and may in fact not be a legitimate president.
The one thing that Trump is fearful of when it comes to his being president is that finally we will see how illegitimate his victory actually was.
I have an objection.
I object to the 15 votes from the state of North Carolina. I object because people are horrified.
He's an illegitimate president.
Do you believe Trump is a legitimate president?
What I believe is that there's no question that the outcome of this election was affected by the Russian interference.
There absolutely is a cloud of illegitimacy.
So that legitimacy is in question, yes.
So that was a very tainted election. And in that sense, it's illegitimate.
Why do you think the president is going to such great lengths to essentially prove that?
This video is literally
that is beautiful. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Okay, do you mind maybe playing 30 more seconds of that shit?
Yeah, I'll play
later.
I'll play.
You gotta keep up still. I just want to hear more people say. I want it like as a receipt so people can clip this shit and be like,
okay, yeah, let's play more.
Yeah, play a little bit more of this shit. Yeah.
So once again, as you see this, does it matter that Republicans made this? Does it matter? This is what they said. How is this any different? How is this any different than what the Trump supporters have been doing since 2020? And I made this observation years ago. You can find an old tweet that went viral. I was like, you guys are pretending Trump is the only people that denied the election. Do you guys remember Russiagate? That was a very common observation.
Election deniers.
No, coming from the left, and then once again, Americans are got collective amnesia because we are the most propagandized country in the world, and that leads to this. So let's play a little bit more of it because it's funny.
That's the reason why I always say there's no such thing as an election denier. There's no unless you can give that to Democrats too, because everybody does that. They both do that. They both do the this is not. As you can see, go ahead, Nick.
Remember, I said this. I said this quite a long time ago. There's literally nothing wrong with questioning the legitimacy in the process of democracy. That is what civilians have done in society for generations, years and years. Okay, let's make sure the elections are working properly. Let's make sure there's no fraud. And then for whatever reason, whenever we all know why, not whatever reason, but whenever the party in power get in charge, like whenever Democrats are in charge, is blasphemy to talk about the legitimacy of our fraudulent elections. And then whenever Republicans in charge, oh my God, how dare you question the legitimacy of our elections, even though they were celebrating Trump, who won despite losing millions of votes. And I hate Hillary Clinton. I'm just principled on it. I don't believe that someone should win if they get less votes than someone. So the point is, our democracy is a spam. And once again, you guys know I hate Hillary, but that's just me being principled. I think that's fucking dumb. I believe in the dictatorship of the proletariat. I don't believe in rule by minority. And so our democracy is flawed, and they know it. So whenever the other party is in charge, they complain. They make the legitimate argument that our democracy is weak. Well, let me rephrase that. They don't use legitimate reason because they push Russiagate. I gotta be careful. They use what we all know our democracy is corrupt, and then they manipulate that to boost up the national security state. And they use Russiagate. Anyway, I'll let the video play, and you guys see more of it.
Beat you because he knows he didn't. He knows he's an illegitimate president.
Stolen emails, stolen drone, stolen election. Welcome to the world of unprecedented Trump.
So do you believe President Trump is an illegitimate?
That was the press secretary. If you're only listening, because I know some people only listen, because I do that sometimes. I literally don't even watch like podcasts sometimes. I would just have it in the background. So if you only listening, that's a tweet from Karine Jean-Pierre, and that says stolen email, stolen drone, stolen election. The current press secretary says stolen election. How is that different from Carrie Lake saying that? I'm legitimately asking.
The world of unprecedented Trump.
So do you believe President Trump is an illegitimate president?
Based on what I just said, which I can't retract.
The Russian attempt to have the election, and frankly, the FBI is weighing in on the election. I think makes his election illegitimate.
There was a widespread understanding that this election was not on the level.
I love the picture selection when they go to Hillary.
That is the perfect picture selection. That is the perfect picture selection. And as you watch it, we all know why Hillary Clinton one of the most disliked public figures in America. But as you guys think about that, just remember that AOC is literally only 1 percentage point higher than Hillary Clinton. Only one. But anyway, they're just going to one poll, so you guys
happened, Isaac. I mean, there's just a lot that I think will be revealed. History will discover. But you don't win by 3 million votes and have all this other shenanigan stuff going on and not come away with an idea like, whoa, something's not right here.
The outcome of the election was affected by their interference, and now we need to know, to what degree, if any, the Trump campaign was actually.
How dare she say anything about anything?
Yes.
How dare she say anything about anything, man? How dare you, Debbie Wasserman Schultz? You shouldn't be saying nothing. Are those flames in the background of her? Is those flames? Where is she? Oh, that was a joke. Yeah, it just looked like she's sitting in flames to me. But
who
she
literally
shouldn't be saying anything. Go ahead.
The chief architect of the DNC, robbing Bernie Sanders in 2016. Talking about our democracy and elections were stolen.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's everything they say about Trump. That's the Democrats. They are. That's
they are.
When you guys see the coverage, go ahead. Oh, when you guys see our coverage, that's always the message of this show. That the Democratic Party and Republican Party, there's not one of the lesser two evils. They are both unique evils that serve the empire, and they both do the same thing.
I hope some liberals, people who may vote for them, are thinking about or listening. Have stumbled upon that's the people I like that stumble upon our podcast.
Yeah,
those who are still in it, but they're like, something seems fishy, and then they hear us and they like, man, this is how I feel about this. It just seems fishy because we're pointing out, because people say, why are you always going after Democrats? Because the narrative, even in their own narrative, is Republicans bad. Why do I have to keep telling you every day, if you believe in God and devil, why do I got to tell you every day the devil's bad? For what? What does that do? That doesn't make any sense. I'm going to tell you if the scenario is this person is good, but that person is not good. You attack that narrative, the narrative that this is the hero, when that person is the same as the bad guy that we already know. So this is why I hope some liberals are here watching this and saying, wow, yeah, I didn't see this. Or I really believe, Nick, these people know that the Democrats, they just swallow their pride. But they stumble upon a group of people who are saying, no, we're calling them out. And they might feel more comfortable to be like, yeah, it's time for me to jump ship of this bullshit. It's time. If you're one of those people, it's time. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's why I do what I do, man. Whenever I get the messages of people that tell me that they're done with the two-party system because of RBN, love that shit. I had a conversation with on call-in with someone who's still liberal-minded that watched our show. And he had some pushback. We asked a question. It was a good conversation, actually. We wasn't 100% in line, but he said he watched the show. He said he likes us. But he still like supporting the Democratic Party. He didn't like our coverage of Fetterman, but it was a very friendly debate. And I actually like the fact that we got people that disagree with us that watch. Like I saw a conservative comment, pass to you, CJ, but I saw a conservative comment on the last video, like, yeah, I'm a conservative, but I fuck with the anti-war message that you guys got. I saw some person was like, "Oh, not socialist." I don't know why. They were like, "Nick, stop calling yourself a Marxist." They're like, "Nick, you heard your channel. Nick, stop saying that. I'm a conservative, man. Just talk about it." I'm like, "Nah, man. I'm doing my role here too." Right. But anyway, CJ, what you about to say? And then we get back. We play.
Oh, I was just gonna say. I mean, we can move on from the video if you want. Yeah. I was just gonna say, those people who are not there, as long as they keep listening to us, they're gonna get there. And that's like some people would take a week, some people would take 3 months, it may take you 12 months. But believe me, if you're consistently watching this channel, if you're consistently watching what's going on here and the work that we're going to be launching soon, it's no way that you're not going to start to say, hey, maybe I call myself a conservative, but I believe this, that with RBN. So what I want to do now in sort of telling the story of the end of democracy, which is going to happen November 8th, if you let the Democrats tell the story that democracy is about to end. And that's where that's where we get, I didn't put the graphic up earlier, but that's where we get the graphic here. And let's talk about these four here, because these are the people they fear. These are the people that is the scariest right now. You have Herschel Walker and Dr. Oz, of course, running. And then you have MT. Yes. And then you have MTG. Is it Marjorie Taylor? Yeah, MTG, who is just the lunatic of the group that they label as the lunatic. I'm not calling her that. That's Marjorie the AOC. Exactly.
Yeah, I swear to God, she is 100% the AOC of the Republican Party. 100%.
Yes. 100%. Yes, and then Mitch McConnell, of course, is a tactician. He's the one that's going to get it done. But this is the face, the one they said is the pulling the puppet strings.
I was laughing. Put the picture back up. I was laughing because look at Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell is the funniest looking dude I ever seen in my fucking life. Like that is literally what pure evil does to you after you. It just eats your soul. Anyway, let's get back to it. Apparently, let me show this receipt. Did you put Herschel Walker real quick? How is this possible? Just a real quick segment. How is this possible on Herschel Walker, where this dude is an absolute moron, and you are so bad, you are so terrible that you debate him? I remember when Herschel Walker agreed to debate Warnock. I was like, holy shit, Walker is actually about to debate. I thought he was gonna run. I was thinking like, bro, this dude, I seen him talk. You guys know what I'm talking about. This dude don't know anything about any fucking thing. His entire campaign is a culture war, right? That's it. He don't know anything about geopolitical politics. Don't know anything about economics. He's just a rich dude that's covering for his class. So I remember before the debate, everyone was like, "Oh my God, Herschel Walker campaign is setting standards low. They about to get destroyed by Warnock. Warnock is a amazing preacher or whatever." And I watched a little bit of the debate, and Warnock is the most boring motherfucker. He's a black preacher that has no charisma who's repeating Biden talking points. And
he doesn't have the black preacher vernacular. He can't.
No, you know how Obama, we showed Obama, and Obama was very convincing. Like you'd be surprised at how for Warnock. What's his exact title? He's like a big, famous. I'm not in the church. So I don't know, like a minister, preacher. That's his background.
Yeah, that's what he does.
And you would think you would be a good public speaker, but he was not. There's like random clips that spread from like when he church. Look how charismatic. Because they show like a church speed, but as a politician, that shit does not translate. He's stiff, robotic, and I saw this video. I was like, wow. I didn't think he would get boosted. I saw this headline. I thought it was funny, so I just clipped it. And my tweet was, imagine your party being so trash that you are in the competitive race with Herschel Walker. And you want to go? You want to know why? You want to know why? My friend Angie point out the reason why. CJ, do you think niggas in Georgia forgot about that $2,000 check promise?
No, not at all. Not at all. I know I wouldn't be. I know if I was living there, I know I wouldn't forget that shit.
Remember, our coverage at the time, my coverage at the time was, man, you guys think you're slick with this bullshit. Bernie came out. Bernie fucking Sanders, the biggest DNC sheepdog of all time. He came out like, well, technically, 1,400 plus 600 is 2,000. So Biden actually followed through on his campaign promise. See me chucking and jiving for my friend Biden. And they really think that the working class is so done. They're like, oh, well, I guess it's 600, 1,400. I guess you don't need. No, we have screenshots of you guys literally posting $2,000 checks. And now people are pissed so bad. They're like, Herschel Walker, complete train wreck of a candidate. Nah, fuck you. You ain't give me my $2,000 check, bro. I don't give a fuck. That would be me. Y'all never vote for y'all niggas again. Be my CJ. I don't add that.
I think there's a lot of people that's doing that. I think there's a lot of people that probably be doing that. I forget where. Oh, let's. I'm gonna bring up this video. So I wanted to cover Biden's speech because it's about the end of democracy. That's kind of like what his speech is about. It's like if you don't vote for us, it's the end of democracy. But I didn't want to watch the whole speech. Status Quo has snippets, has cut it into snippets that we can just kind of conversate about. So we're gonna watch those clips through this video. Just let me know when to stop. Now,
democracy being in peril less than a week before the mid.
Didn't mean to start it yet because I want to go through. Let's do a like check. Got a lot of new people in. We're at 227
I'll be right back,
likes.
TJ.
Go ahead. 227 likes, 302 people or 392 people. So about 400 people. So could we push that to 300 likes? So could we get another 75 more likes? Let's push it to 300 likes. That'll get about another 25 people. I'm trying to think of the markers. Yeah, about 300 likes. You should get another 25 people into the chat. And let's listen to join our Substack also. If you're watching this on replay and wish you saw this on live, join us on Substack and you will get notifications of when we go live and also clips. So let's play Jordan and he's going to bring up some clips. And the title of this video, if you want to search it, is a Status Quo video. Biden's democracy speech flops because we don't have a real one.
The midterm elections. Let's give you the highlights and then get into some Democrats not so pleased that he did that.
This intimidation, this violence against Democrats, Republicans, and nonpartisan officials just doing their jobs are the consequence of lies told for power and profit, lies of conspiracy and malice, lies repeated over and over to generate a cycle of anger, hate, vitriol, and even violence. In this moment, we have to confront those lies with the truth. The very future of our nation depends on it. You know, American democracy is under attack because the defeated former president of the United States refused to accept the results of the 2020.
They're the ones, the Democrats are the ones that keep bringing this up. They're the ones that's prolonging just bringing up the fact that they denied the election. You're the one with the January 6th committee and the trials and the hearings or whatever. You're the one that's keeping this going. You're the one that keeps asking candidates about it, Republican candidates.
2020 election. If he refuses to accept the will of the people, he refuses to accept the fact that he lost. He has abused his power and put the loyalty to himself before loyalty to the Constitution. And he's made a big lie, an article of faith in the MAGA Republican Party.
Do you know how easier it would be for Democrats just to come out if Joe Biden just came out and said, hey, everybody, tomorrow I'm signing an executive order. I'm signing an executive order. I'm getting rid of this. I'm signing this executive order. We're getting rid of that. You get what I'm saying? All the things that he could do with an executive order. I'm eliminating weed from the schedule at all. It's completely off. I'm decriminalizing this. It's so many things he could do that he refuses to do because doing those things would help the working class. So this is a constant class struggle. They're not willing. So this is the struggle that the Democrats have, Nick. They have the struggle of trying to do as least they can do to get to win, because their ruling class doesn't want them to do much for our class. Go ahead.
And the reason why the whole democracy thing fall flat is because everyone know they are not champions of democracy at all. How can you claim you are a champion of democracy when you have candidates that literally refuse to debate people? Carrie Lake, opponent, refuses to debate her. And after this, I'm gonna show you guys this clip. Don Lemon CNN show, which has flopped massively. By the way, we're gonna cover that here soon. He calls this person out. But anyway, I'll show that video soon. The Democrats, how can you say you live in a thriving democracy, but you guys are refusing to debate your opponents? Debate is a very important part of a democracy, right? But anyway, go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I hadn't known that about. I knew it would launch, but I hadn't heard what happened to Don.
Oh yeah, the next segment is gonna be funny. The next segment is gonna be funny.
I'm curious to hear about that.
The extreme MAGA element of the Republican Party, which is a minority of that party, as I said earlier, is trying to succeed where they failed in 2020, to suppress the right of voters and subvert the electoral system itself. It's estimated that there are more than 300 election deniers on the ballot all across America this year. We can't ignore the impact this is having on our country. It's damaging, it's corrosive, and it's destructive. And I want to be very clear. This is not about me. It's about all of us. So today, I appeal to all Americans, regardless of party, to meet this moment of national and generational importance. We must vote knowing what's at stake and not just the policy of the moment, but institutions that have held us.
Did you hear what he just said? We must vote not for the policies currently at stake, but not for the policies currently at hand, but what's currently at stake. He's literally saying this is not about policy.
So I love that you play that video of Biden being unhinged. I want to show you guys the difference between Biden and Xi. So Xi just gave it a long address after the Chinese Communist Party Congress. I think there's their fourth Congress, the new Congress took over. And Xi was talking about their vision for the future, where I read a little bit of the transcript and I heard people talk about it like on Danny Haiphong and Breakthrough News did a great report on it, where the speech, like 80% of it was like, yo, we about to build this. We're going to improve on our high-speed rail system. Yo, we got this new housing program that we want to institute. They was like, yo, last year, we uplifted so many people out of poverty, our last Congress. I can't wait to show you guys our new policies that we're going to implement to decrease poverty even more. So when Xi gave his address at his Congress, when he took power, it was all about his vision of building the country. Meanwhile, across the Pacific, in the capitalist West, Biden is like, no, guys, don't worry about policy. Worry about the meaningless bullshit that we want you to. Hey, don't focus on kitchen bread and table issues. There's a distraction. Do you guys see the difference between the leaders? Where the leaders of China is looking at the material needs of their people and they brag about their success. Biden and them, they want you to be afraid. Be afraid of your neighbor. Our democracy is dying. Decolonize your mind, man.
Think about Zelina Maxwell, because to your point, they don't want you. What was she saying? That video, that segment you did, where she was unhinged, telling people you're kind of privileged if your gas prices is something important to you. But that's what they're trying. You see the brainwashing they're trying to attempt to of the working class to tell them the pain you're feeling of capitalism, your inability to pay bills, your inability to have health care. That is just selfish. Worry about democracy. That's what they're trying to get working class people and poor people to believe. It is just sickening. Let me play this other snippet. I fast forwarded to this other snippet that Jordan says here that he's going to speak here. So it's about a minute and a half here.
Hand in hand with the Republican Party on these trends. I mean, you look at the overall chart of income inequality in this country. I mean, this is our economy over the last 40 years. I always show this chart. That's a grand larceny. It's a major, major bank robbery. And that's all of you on the bottom. So I don't want to minimize. There are threats to democracy. As I've been covering, there are increases in political violence in this country that should not be minimized. Contrary to the Tucker Carlson, Glenn Greenwald crowd.
That's us, if you didn't know. That's we're wrapped into that, because what do we say about political violence in the ruling class? Pretty much that's not none of our business. Like the chickens coming home to roost, that's you're laying in the bed that you made.
Yeah, and as I explained before, as Marxists and as members of the working class, our job is to exploit the visions of capitalism. The revolutionaries, that is what they do. Then that's the difference between social democrats. That is what Lenin wrote about. Our job is to exploit the division of capitalism while we are building our movement. You have them do the same tactics they use against us, where they divide and conquer, they infiltrate and divide. Whenever there are capitalist conflicts, we should stir it up. We should take advantage of it in any way possible. So when Nancy Pelosi attacked by some moron, you bitch, and when January 6th happened, there you guys get. Like, we shouldn't be concerned over these systems, the institutions that has killed our people, that put us in poverty, that steal our resources, that pollute our water. Are you serious? But anyway, go ahead, CJ.
If none of those institutions did that to you, you see why they don't have a problem with the institution, and why I say
exactly.
Well-off leftists can't be the main voices and representatives because of this huge, gigantic blind spot. But let's get back to Jordan.
There aren't glaring holes in the story of the attack on Paul Pelosi. We know that this was a MAGA lunatic and conspiracy theorist that was
the fact that he's interjecting an attack on Pelosi as part of some sort of democracy conversation. Do you see how the selling of the Democratic Party, that story of the attack, has now become the selling point of democracy, and one of the most used fear-mongering tactics right now is that
pretty much check all the boxes for conspiracy theories, election denialism, COVID conspiracies, seems to be a Holocaust denier. We have basically militiamen standing guard outside mail-in ballots in Arizona. We have threats to politicians, shootouts where people have went and shot at the FBI office in Cincinnati. Obviously, there's been increases in anti-Semitism in the country over the last 5-6 years. There's been increase in political violence over the last 5-6 years. All of this does not really showcase a thriving democracy. The other thing is, I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of rinse and repeat theater. Democrats get power. They kind of tinker around the edges. They have every excuse in the book why they can't do more, and then tell you, well, be happy with what we gave you, because if you don't vote for us, fascists. If you don't vote for us, extremists. If you don't vote for us, democracy is a threat. Well, I mean, I could tell you, having covered Trump in 2016, a large reason somebody like Donald Trump is able to rise to power, and then his movement is able to grow. And obviously his movement is growing. Most of the candidates that might win in the Senate governorships are MAGA people, are people that have, bended the knee to Donald Trump, is because basically people are hurting economically from everything I just showed you. People who used to work one job and, be able to afford a vacation a year, a nice car, a good life for their kids, can no longer do that off of one job. People's hours have been cut. People's benefits are not as generous. They're paying more into their health care. All of this is why people aren't so concerned about democracy anymore, because they don't feel like they're living in a thriving democracy. They feel like they're living in a rigged system. That's why Trump's phony populist rhetoric was so successful in 2020.
And I'm going to end it there, because that's the point I wanted to interject here. The reason if democracy is ending because of Democrats, it's squarely your fault, because you're not providing a clear, different choice. Do you understand? If I'm trying to give you something to drink and I hand you something to drink and it's halfway full, and then if I'm trying to feed the hunger and I bring a slice of bread, and then the other option is if the other person is bringing just a quarter of a bread or a slightly different version of what you brought, how is that distinctly different? But if I came with a 7-course meal, you see how the person would go, you're providing a loaf of bread and I'm looking at a 7-course meal? Exactly. You see how it wouldn't even be a chance for fascism to continue, because it would be a clear difference. And that's the point. I know the analogy is kind of wacky, but that's the point I'm making. I think I rounded it out. Go ahead.
I was the one who, and I'm glad that Kabate, my friend, found the video. This is what you mentioned earlier, because just in case you're a new viewer, you didn't watch this, Kyle covered this, August 2nd? That was that was a while ago. So I'm gonna play this video for ones for people who did not see it. This is Zerlina Maxwell providing cover for the establishment like she always does. She part of the Black capitalist class, the Black millionaire class that is complicit with the capitalist system waging class war on our people. Listen what she said.
Inflation, it's almost a privilege to care about inflation as your number one issue. The same is true of gas prices, or even the idea that it's the economy, stupid.
So if you care about gas prices, and the thing is, she actually doubled down. I'm not going shit lib enough. She started off like, if you care about inflation, then she paused. She's like, actually, I'm not being a shit lib enough. Let me raise the stakes. If you care about gas, you care about anything, you care about any motherfucking economics. Then you see, I'm gonna play it again. Here's 11 seconds. You see how she realized, she's like, no, I gotta make this shit stronger. Look at, hear it again.
Inflation, it's almost a privilege to care about inflation as your number one issue. The same is.
So that one, you like, no, actually, let me add some more shit to that. I'm gonna let you guys know.
Of gas prices, or
some more shit livery.
The economy, stupid.
So she's like, hell, fuck it. Anyone, if you even think the economy is important, you got privilege. One more time.
Privilege to care about inflation as your number one issue. The same is true of gas prices, or even the idea that it's the economy, stupid. Inflation.
Zerlina
and this is why they're losing. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The next thing they're going to be saying is, if you care about oxygen more than voting for Democrats, that's the next level. But let me show you this. This could quite possibly be. This is a nominee for the biggest shit lib on Twitter.
Oh man,
I think By far, he is up there. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah,
if you want to chime in.
He's so horrible. But yeah, go ahead.
But
CJ.
let's
He's
just
horrible.
examine just a couple of his tweets. And I'm going to put the banner back up because this banner goes to what he is actually saying. This is them and their description of democracy ending. So let's click this one here. If you don't vote for the Democrats or don't vote at all, you are choosing to accept living under fascism. How much point? How like directly to the point? He didn't, and he also said, and or if you choose not to vote at all. Does that covers everybody? Not that means if you're not literally, if you're voting Republican, if you're voting Green, if you're voting Socialist, if you're voting Communist, if you vote anything but blue, or you're sitting at home, you are for fascism, Nick. For fascism.
Said the people that voting for the party that is going after journalists like Julian Assange. There is a story of the DHS coordinating directly with big tech, which is literally fascism. These people are so unserious. And he only says this because let's go to the class analysis. Oh yes, South Park did do an episode on Rob Reiner. That's just funny. But he's rich. He's a millionaire.
Yes,
he's a millionaire. And
I
saw this. Scroll down a little bit. Scroll down. You want to see some fucked up shit?
He is the picture of white privilege because his dad is the one who even got him into the game. You said keep going down?
Yeah, look at go up. No, that's good. That's good. Where the candidates are. I want to show you guys why our democracy is horrific. Why the fuck do they got that in parentheses right there? Patty Murray, preferred Democratic Party. Why is that on the ballot? Take that shit off. These candidates should not be having D and R next to their name. Do you guys know why they do that? They do that to instill tribalism into people. So they can just run corrupt motherfuckers, incompetent motherfuckers, and you just vote for the candidate down ballot. There have been good ideas to just take the party affiliation off. So if you take the party affiliation off, people will either won't vote and they don't know them, or they'll be more likely to at least like, oh, who the fuck is this? What am I voting for? People,
they'll never take that party. They'll fight to the death to take.
Yeah, they will never do it. They will never do it.
They'll fight to the death. And the thing is, I got a ballot, and it's no reason for me to vote. The ballot they sent me, Nick, literally every single race that's up, there's only a Republican and a Democratic choice. If I want to go see the other candidates, I have to go online and see like the rest of the candidates if they have them in certain races. That is absolutely ridiculous. And you're saying we have a democracy?
Oh wait, so
what democracy do we have with two choices? Go ahead. That's one choice.
So CJ lives in blue California, but he has no choices. I live in Missouri. I vote third party. I vote Green Party every election. Green Party's on the ballot again this year. So isn't it ironic the party that complained about democracy, literally a red state, has more choices than California, the blue state? Isn't that interesting? I think that's interesting.
It's so ridiculous when I got that ballot. Now, when we get to the general election, that's when it does show more options, I guess, because it's a general election. I don't know what the requirement is, or maybe it's because I did move since the last time. But now that I'm in my new place, because I just moved, remember, this like it's literally red. I looked at each one. It's like 16 races to vote. 16 races, Nick. I don't have a choice but red or blue. This is democracy. But the reason I brought this picture up is look what he has to put. Maybe I'll do the same thing.
Yeah,
it says neither one. Neither one.
Because what I advocate for is if you have time, like if you can vote quickly and there's important like ballot initiatives, because I'm voting because they got an affordable housing ballot initiative that endorsed by Casey Tenets, and that's what they did the rally over. I'm like, hey, Casey Tenets isn't that good. I think that has to be good because I talked to a lot of those people. They really disciplined. So like if they have a ballot initiative they want to support, I'm gonna support that. So luckily, I always explained before. I'm lucky it takes me only like 5 minutes to vote. I literally can walk to my library. I'm always up early. CJ see my text sometimes. And I can usually vote pretty quick. So I'm voting straight Green Party down ballot. and I'm voting for the marijuana. They got legalized marijuana in Missouri on the ballot, and they have affordable housing. So I'm literally going vote Green Party. I'm looking for them 2 ballot initiatives. I'm out of here. Like I'm not. There's no reason.
That's pretty much what I do. I look for things, in my local area. Like if judgeships are up, but none of that are up right now. This is like this is like the fewest items on the ballot that I've seen in a long time. But so mine is smaller. But back to Rob. I do want to show you some things. And scrolling through Rob's thing, Dan Rather is actually another nominee for a biggest shit lib. But here's this tweet. Liz Cheney is now on record saying that Donald Trump is personally and directly responsible for the January 6th attack on the U.S. government. If we don't want to descend into fascism, it's imperative that America votes blue at 60,000.
Isn't he the guy who endorsed Liz Cheney as well? Like, Liz Cheney be a great candidate. I think that's the guy. I gotta be careful. I think that's
ridiculous. And why is this a selling point? New Liz Cheney endorses Democrat Tim Ryan over Republican.
He retweeted it. They are the only people in the country. Their faction is the only people who like Liz Cheney. Like that's the echo chamber, the DC bubble. No one is out here like, oh my God, bravery of Liz. No one is saying that.
Like Liz Cheney, are you freaking ridiculous? Now let's just look at a couple of Dan Rathers and then we'll
is a
move off to Twitter.
Dan Rather, I don't know that much about him. I know he's like a big anchor or something like that, right? I don't know that much about him. I only know him from his tweets, really, for real. He is like the biggest psychopath I've ever seen on Twitter. I'm not exaggerating. There's been multiple tweets where Dan Rather straight up called for World War III. We straight up like, I don't know why we don't got troops. Like, we need to get troops in the ground in Ukraine, man. Like, he literally one of the most insane liberals I ever seen. But if you ever want to see the psychopathy of a liberal mind, just scroll through this dude's timeline. Anyway.
Listen to this. This is him. Imagine the terror Paul Pelosi likely felt. Not funny at all. The opposite of funny. He said that same thing 3 times in a row. Like, imagine the terror that he felt where he was fine enough to go open a door and then go walk back over by the assailant. Isn't that what happened? They said he opened the door to the police, and then all of a sudden, why is the police didn't get in between them? How much fear was he in, really? I lived most of my life without a blue check. Pretty sure I could go back to doing that and be just fine. Look at him saying, I'm fine, losing my status. But here's the part. Here's one of the tweets that I was bringing you to. This one and the next one. Democracy reminds me of trying to fold a fitted sheet. It takes a lot of effort. It's going to be messy. Almost no one is going to do it perfectly. We have no choice but to give it a try to avoid complex chaos. That's his analogy, and I think I could bring him down. Did you have any other video?
Yeah, I want to show you guys I want to show you guys. I can do this quick segment on. It's on the same theme with the Democrat Party, or not the champions of democracy, because as I mentioned earlier, how can you say you are a pro-democracy when you are declining to debate, which is important? There's 2 public officials talking about national policy so people know who they're voting for. Meanwhile, I am for stripping party affiliation off the ballot. Someone mentioned that Jesse Ventura idea. That's been an idea that's been floated for quite some time. It will stop the partisan bullshit in politics. So what you need to do as a candidate, you need to go out, you need to debate your opponent so you guys can have an exchange of ideas, so that will lead to a more informed populace. The more informed populace you have, a more thriving your democracy will be. Our government on both sides do everything they can to keep the populace as uninformed as possible. So I remember I made this analogy when I was talking about AOC and Marjorie Taylor Greene. If you are AOC, why in the hell will you turn down a debate with Marjorie Taylor Greene over climate? If Marjorie Taylor Greene and AOC had a debate, that will draw millions of viewers. It will be one of the biggest political freak shows of the year. But you will use that as an opportunity to raise awareness on climate change and expose how shitty the right is on not that, but a myriad of issues. That's why I'm gonna debate this guy this month on the 10th about defund the police. That's why I debated Destiny. That's why I debated Robbie. You gotta do these things to bring people to your side. AOC could have had if she was a real elected, we all know she's not, but she could have a real impact if you had someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene being called out and destroyed on climate. Take anybody from RBN, even the comments, and put them against Marjorie Taylor Greene in debate, and they are destroying her. But they didn't do it because they didn't want AOC to get embarrassed. The same way that Nancy Pelosi, and to show you guys how horrific our democracy is, Nancy Pelosi is the third in line for president. Do you guys understand? The third in line for president, never debated a primary challenger, never debated a general election challenger. What kind of democracy is this? She's been in power for decades. Never had to debate anybody. Didn't have to debate Shahid Buttar. Can you imagine if Nancy Pelosi debated Shahid? She would have got slaughtered. She would have been embarrassed. It would have been highlight reel. It would have been circulated. Pelosi always win her district large because they class loyal. But man, imagine the impact they will have. Even if she was still winning, even if she was embarrassed, I still think she will win because I told her, man, like, dude, her district is rich, bro. Like, they know what they're voting for. So even if he doesn't win, that will literally shift over to win. Although Clips being around Shahid destroying Pelosi. Number third power in this country, third in line for president, never debated. Now let's get back to what's going on right now. Right? I remember when Perdue ran against John Ossoff, and Perdue in the last Georgia Senate race debated him one time, and then he refused to debate him the second time. And I remember the media meltdown. I remember Perdue is a coward with trending because he didn't set the rematch on the debate. And don't get twisted. I am on the side of you should debate as many times as possible. But that's funny coming from a party that constantly reject debating their opponents. Bernie Sanders wanted to debate Biden the second time, but he declined. Media gave him a pass. Now, our preface is enough. There's a big race in Arizona with Carrie Lake, who is extremely popular on the right. Like, she's like this female version of like Tucker Carlson, this fake populist motherfucker kind of person. And she's running against this Democrat who's losing, which is hilarious. Katie Hobbs. I had to fucking pull the article up, just remember her name. But we're gonna get to this video here soon. Katie Hobbs is terrified of debating Carrie Lake. Carrie Lake is like one of the Republicans that have been calling out the COVID narrative, that had questions about the Ukraine war. But she is nuts. She is an insane capitalist. She's insane. Like, she's a horrific character, right? Tulsi endorsed her. Like, she's a big character on the Tucker Carlson right. The corporate media establishment, even on the Republican side, didn't want her to win the primary, because I remember the primary happened. They was like, oh, Carrie Lake is a Trumper, election denier. She's a COVID denier. She's unelectable. And the media was like, the Republicans, they let Carrie Lake win the primary. I still remember seeing this on Twitter. Yeah, it's the Republicans. Fuck us. See, they messed up. They let Carrie Lake win. They should have stopped her. She's a Trump extremist. Now, she's winning in the polls by a significant amount of points. She's the wide favorite to win the Arizona governor race. So you would think, being behind in the race, that you would want to debate your opponent, right? Nope. Here is Don Lemon's new show.
Like, nope.
Don Lemon, and I want you guys to understand, Katie Hobbs losing to Carrie Lake, her career is over, because I have seen the establishment Democrats turn on her. And that's weird. You literally never see it. I've seen blue checks on Twitter say, oh my God, cannot believe the horrible campaign that Katie Hobbs is running. How are you losing to Carrie Lake? Remember, because they were making these smug predictions early on that Republicans fucked up by nominating Carrie Lake. Meanwhile, it was them who nominated a weak candidate. And she's just a horrific, no charisma, been terrified to debate because she knows she would be exposed. Like, she's like a big, like, imagine her, and I don't like, obviously Carrie Lake is trash, but Carrie Lake had criticism of NATO, criticism of COVID, and she refused to debate her. because she knows she's a dumbass. And the Democratic Party arbiters had enough. I seen criticism of her, like, oh my, I saw a headline that said the horrific campaign of Katie Hobbs. Because they're like, we cannot believe you're about to lose to this Kari Lake. So this is Don Lemon, of all people, questioning her. You are called out by Don Lemon? Imagine being so horrible. You're called out by the most milquetoast nigga I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, I appreciate this story way too long. Let's watch the video.
I have to ask you, listen, why not? I want to talk about your debating. Why not debate your opponent? If you believe your opponent is, has issues in the spreading conspiracy theories about a stolen election and so on, and is not being truthful with the.
See, that's a good question because they hate Kari Lake because she's one of the people that said Trump won the election. Why wouldn't you go on a debate in front of millions of people and expose why that's a lie? Why would you do that, you idiot? But anyway, let's go. Let's finish the video.
People of Arizona, why then not get on the debate stage and debate her?
Not only is Kari Lake, has she centered her entire platform around this election denialism, I didn't want to give her a bigger stage to do that. But additionally,
you are losing the election, motherfucker. You about to concede the governor race because you can't debate. You can't justify your neoliberal positions. Because
she's a polished public figure. She was a news anchor, so she can do this all day. She can talk in front of people all day and come up. Yeah, she can come up with stuff. She used to be a news anchor. She used to be down with Obama. She got pictures and been to the White House with Obama. Got all kind of shit. She used to be down. Yeah,
I'll rewind to her. I'll rewind to the beginner answer. We play more of it.
And debate her.
Not only is Kari Lake, has she centered her entire platform around this election denialism, I didn't want to give her a bigger stage to do that. But additionally, she has shown that she's not interested in having any kind of substantive conversation. She's only interested in creating a spectacle.
But
and I didn't
if
want to
you
be
were in the same space with her, wouldn't it be easier to knock it down in front of everyone, in front of the most people? Because you're not stopping her from spreading whatever you believe that she is spreading by not debating her.
And that is the dumb argument that the AOC left kept making when they will make Marjorie Taylor Greene called out AOC, tagged her like, hey, you want to have this debate? And AOC tucked away like a coward. And they was like, well, we don't want to debate Marjorie Taylor Greene because we don't want to legitimize her. Guys, do you guys know that Marjorie Taylor Greene was the #1 fundraiser in Congress?
Yes. She's already legitimized. I don't want to legitimize Trump. 70 million votes legitimized him already. What are you talking about? It's a ridiculous cop-out point. But this is how the new look Don Lemon set looks, huh?
Yeah, and guys, don't get twisted because it's funny that he just so. It's surprising to see Don Lemon go for this person's throat because I've seen a lot of people criticize her. I don't know if she's even gonna get a lobbyist position out this. I think they salty, bro. They're like, you fucked up so bad, you lost this governor seat for us to Kari Lake, a COVID denier, election denier. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I hear a lot of all the election deniers are winning. Is they're about to win?
Yeah. And now, and
you know how terrible you gotta be. Go ahead.
Also, Kari Lake is one of them big Hunter Biden Republicans. So what's going to be very interesting next year, if Republicans take over the House and Senate, like they said they're going to launch like full-fledged Senate hearings, investigations on Hunter Biden, which is going to be a shit show. And Kari Lake is one of those people. It's going to be. I don't think.
And Biden is going to be in office, which is going to make it so funny because they're going to keep having to ask him about it. He can barely talk.
Yeah,
it's so funny, man. Go ahead.
So let's finish the clip and I get to the next part because even though Don Lemon called this person out, Don Lemon's show, it tanked. It's tanking already and it's horrible. Don't let this clip fool you guys. It is horrible, cringe shit. But anyway, I'll get to that later. Let's finish her spots and I'll share that part.
She can go on television. She can talk about it. She can go in front of the people of Arizona every single day and talk about it. But you're not confronting her on it. And it seems like it would be an easy fix if you stood up on a debate stage and confronted her about these issues.
Look, we're 6 days out from the election and our campaign strategy is our campaign strategy. So we're moving forward. I'm continuing.
How is that an answer?
There's not one.
Oh, Don Lemon was like, "Hey, why you guys running a stupid fucking election?" And she's like, "Man, we just doing what we doing, nigga. Like, why the fuck you asking?" That's literally what she said. Let's hear it again, and I'll get you in here.
Look, we're 6 days out from the election, and our campaign strategy is our campaign strategy. So we're moving forward. I'm continuing to make my case to the voters of Arizona. Whether or not we debated in this race is not going to decide this election. So.
And you guys, is anyone confused about why she's losing this election? I just want to ask that question. Is anyone confused?
We made a decision, didn't want to be a part of her spectacle, and she's not, she won't answer these tough questions to real reporters. She only talks to fake
But Secretary, it's not just her that you won't debate. You also did not debate your Democratic primary opponent, Marco Lopez.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't watch the whole thing. Oh my God, what a coward. I didn't know that. So not only did she refuse to debate Carrie Lake, and her rationale being, we can't legitimize the election denier, we can't legitimize the COVID denier, but you didn't debate your primary challenger. She probably
tells you that's just a made up excuse she's trying to give. You didn't even debate anybody.
You know, she's one of them, and that's why I may be wrong. Like I may be wrong in my analysis that her career may be over because she pissed off Democratic establishment. Because obviously she's well connected and powerful. Oh, maybe that may be wrong because she may still get a lobby position. She may be taken care of either way. Because you can tell this is someone who had no talent. Who, as I explained before, we live in a capitalist dictatorship. You can predict who's going to win an election at a 91% rate, according to a study I read a few years ago, based on who raised the most money. So she was bankrolled by Democratic Party money. So she's like, I'm gonna just take it easy. I'm gonna just be vibing. I ain't debating nobody. Fuck out of here. Well, I'm gonna debate you. How much money you got? You got more money than me? How much money you got? You're not gonna beat me. You got $200? What's the dude name? Lopez, something Lopez. I want to see what the dude name again.
Marco Lopez.
So she's like, Marco Lopez? You got, dude, how much money you got? You think I'm gonna debate you, Marco Lopez? But anyway, I'll play just a little bit and then I'll move on to
it. Almost like she's intentional. It almost seems like she's intentionally trying to lose. It seems like she's
I see some people in the comments say that. Yeah, definitely. Once again, the reason why is because when they lose, like Stacey Abrams, she knows she was gonna lose. Amy McGrath ran, they burnt millions of dollars, like $80 million in that election. She knew she was gonna lose, and now she about to get a lobbyist position. That's how it goes. So I'll play a little bit more of this, and I'll show you guys Don Lemon's tank.
Have you ever?
I was miles ahead of him. I was miles ahead of him in the race and won handily. It's a totally different situation here.
Well, it's not debating your opponent again. Have you ever debated your opponent running for political office?
Yes, I have.
Why do you think it wasn't important for people to see a debate in this?
Bro, you see how pissed they are at her? This is the shit lives like, bro, we done with her.
Election for governor.
They've been given permission. Like like the previous. Somebody in the establishment is saying you can crucify this motherfucker right here. Go ahead.
That's and I know
they
that
never
happened.
do this to politicians. They never do this.
Yeah, I know that happened because I saw a big blue check shitlib account that criticized her, and it was one of those accounts that was tweets that was obviously boosted. It was like he got like over 10,000 likes, and he like, I'm sorry to say, but Katie Hobbs is running a horrific campaign. And everyone was like, yeah, we agree. And you can tell that's when the establishment like, yeah, we got to criticize her. This is horrible. I can't believe she's about to lose at this election. But anyway, I'll play just a little bit of it so you can hear her get grilled, and I'll show you guys something else.
In the primary, I was focused on the general election. I was miles ahead of my opponent. I won handily. It wasn't an issue. We're 6 days from the election, and this is the decision we made. So.
One thing debates are good for, obviously, is talking about policy differences on the issues. One of the biggest issues right now is the economy. And Arizona has one of the highest inflation rates in the United States. A lot of that is driven by the high cost of housing. Do you think that your party has done an effective job at communicating to voters what your economic message is?
I will hear this real quick.
Well, I don't know about my party, but I can tell you that we're talking about the economy to voters every single day.
All right. Nothing interesting there. So I was interested to see what she's gonna say at the end there. But anyway, she said not about my party because people hate she know people hate Democrats. So I'm gonna show you guys something because that was the CNN anchors getting permission to go after her. But Don Lemon new show, they went into CNN. They wanted to compete with like Morning Joe. They want to have like an MSNBC version of Morning Joe. So they launched Don Lemon new show, and they were like, "Hey, what are the kids into nowadays?" I think the kids, you know what the kids like? They want a funky, chill conversation. You know, like what we have organically on RBN. So they're like, we have an idea. Let's get Don Lemon and let's give him a morning show, and they're gonna have like a funky, pop, fresh conversation every day. The boomers were not fucking with it. The boomers not fucking here. So here's the receipt, and it shows a little bit of the show. Oh, let me turn the audio on. Huh? Damn it! I always gotta do this with this new mic. Oh, my bad. Hold up. Let me cut it. It'll probably been muted the whole time again. Let me show you guys just a little bit why this show is tanking. Oh shit! Did I just close on accident? Don't worry. I have it saved. Don Lemon. Here it is. I don't know why. Because I think I closed on accident, but I have it saved. Here it is. My bad, guys. Here we go. Here's Don Lemon new show. Don Lemon new show. CNN this morning bombed in debut. So let's watch a little bit of this. Here you see this is the vibe that they think they could catch the youth.
Good morning, everyone.
Can you hear it, CJ?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I have to make sure, man. I'm terrified now.
Good morning, everyone. Here we are.
We made it. Everybody got up.
Everybody
we woke up.
We're all awake. Is this rehearsal or is this real?
No, it's real.
It's real.
It's a real
Is
thing.
it real?
So I'll read that part because now they're breaking down the video. You see, they
under 400 viewers, under 400,000 viewers.
Yeah, so I'll read that part because just in case people are only listening and they can't see what they're saying. So despite heavy promotion in the network, and this is one reason I know they kept like promoting this shit to me, and it is my fault. I'll be honest, because as a citizen journalist, I tell you I've been watching a lot of like Ukraine coverage to debunk what they're saying. So now like they've been feeding me. Like, you know how the targeted ads, they be feeding me like corporate media shit all the time. I'm like, fuck, I guess that's the consequence of what I do now. So I've been seeing this show everywhere. So they say despite heavy promotion from the network, CNN this morning first show drew a mere just 380,000 viewers. Now compare that to Morning Joe, just so you guys know how much it tanked, got less than half. And Morning Joe is not a juggernaut by any means.
No, not at all.
Got less than half, despite the massive. And show you guys this was the last part I saw. No show across CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News ranked lower than Lemon's program on Tuesday. No show. Despite all the ads I saw, the only reason I know about this guy is I know my ads are fucked up now. But I've seen them advertise the shit out of this show. Only for it to be the lowest ranked out of all of them. How funny was that? But anyway, that's all I have on this story, CJ.
No, that's a good little clip.
That's a fun story. I like the fun story. That's a funny story.
Now I do want to, because this was one of the main. Actually, this is the main video I wanted to show. To just go over the numbers of what's happening to the Democratic Party. So this video by David Pakman, he's talking about the polling numbers. So listen to what he talks about. Is it 638 or whatever the number is? But Nate Silver's website. So let's listen.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if the polls are to be believed, the Democratic Party may be in the middle of a disastrous collapse where for the first time in a very, very long time, the 538 Senate forecast, not the House, the Senate forecast has, by a very small margin, Republicans now favored to take the Senate. As you might remember, for a very long time, for months, it looked like 2-1, even 3-1 odds that Democrats would keep the Senate but probably lose the House. Things have shifted and shifted and shifted to the point where now, if we are to believe the polling, and we will look at that in more detail, the most likely scenario is Republicans definitely take the House and maybe even take the Senate. by a 52 to 48 margin, Republicans now very slightly favored to take the Senate. It's basically a dead heat, but a far cry from the 70+% odds that Democrats had to keep the Senate just some months ago. If we look,
let me pause it there. So to be clear, just a few months, maybe 2.5 months ago, this same poll had the Democrats up set in the 70s to keep the Senate. This is why they were feeling so good, like they were going to keep the Senate. Hey, we're going to codify Wade. Give me 2 more senators right over there. Okay, Jack. You know how he ends every sentence with Jack.
So this is
like a 30-point swing, a little bit less than 30-point swing. Go ahead, Nick.
Do you guys know how bad this is? This after the Republicans overturned Roe v. Wade.
Yes.
So the Democrats got a giant boost in the polls after the Republicans did that.
The volume went out.
Oh, sorry, Mom.
The last 3 words went out. Yeah, go ahead.
So they had a big boost because of Roe v. Wade was overturned. Then the Democrats proceeded to, they're like, how are we going to use this momentum? We got this massive momentum now that Republicans own gold. And then they proceed to do January 6th hearings, expand the IRS, and brag about it like Katie Porter, who's now
fund
underwater.
The police, fund the military industrial complex, send money to Ukraine.
Support Nazis in Ukraine. We're gonna run a January 6th trial. Not gonna be all we talk about. And then they lost all the momentum and some they got from Roe v. Wade. Do you guys understand how terrible you had to be as a party? And once again, us Marxists who are here to exploit the division of capital, this is nothing but a funny story to me. They be like, I cried. I remember when Trump lost, I was laughing at Trump supporters on Twitter. I hated the fact that Biden lost, but like, you guys lost to Joe Biden, you guys suck. Everyone's how Marxists should approach these things, but go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, all right, so let's listen to some more. You'll start to hear in his voice the desperation here. So let's listen.
If we look at the 538 forecast of how the odds have changed, you will see that, yes, back in late July, it was basically 50-50. And then Democrats building a lead all the way up to about a 71% chance of holding the Senate in mid to late September, and a collapse to where now it is Republicans favored to take the Senate.
Now, let me see this. Let me just look and see if I can pinpoint. There was a high point in around late September, early, so right around here. And now that we're back in November, it's literally switching. So all through this whole loop, they could have maintained this and kept this blue line going straight this way. But the things that Nick and I listed caused this line to go down. And now they're wondering, now they're trying to throw everything at the kitchen sink, where now they're talking about fossil fuel windfall profits when you know he ain't doing a damn thing about that. Like, he's just going to drop that out there 5 days before the election, and we're supposed to believe he's serious about doing that. Get the fuck out of here.
Over in the House, the number's even more dismal.
Look at this shit. Nancy Pelosi's gone, for sure, as the House Speaker. Like, this is not, like, the polls can be wrong. They're not going to be this wrong. This is 84% chance. 84 times they do this simulation, they win. 100 times they do this simulation, Republicans win 84 times. There's no coming back from that.
For Democrats. Now, an 84% chance that Republicans will win the House. If we look at how those numbers have changed over time, you similarly see that it was getting closer there for a period in early October. Still roughly a 2-to-1 margin for Republicans, but now just completely out of reach. 84% chance for Republicans of taking the House. One question that many of you have asked, you came to me, some of you with tears in your eyes, and said, sir, can we trust
Imagine the audience you're cultivating. Go ahead.
Imagine if there actually is a person listening to this with tears in their eyes, listening to these polling. Imagine that.
Oh my God.
Let's listen.
The polling. It is absolutely the case that when you look at a lot of the generic ballots, which aren't looking at individual races, but these are generic Republican or Democratic support in, for example, the House vote. It is true that there are some right-wing pollsters sprinkled in. Trafalgar, for example, which has Republicans +6, that's a right-leaning poll. Rasmussen is a right-leaning poll, and it has Republicans +7. But many of what are considered highly rated, non-politically partisan pollsters also have Republicans leading, but by a slightly smaller margin. CNN, NPR, Wall Street Journal, CBS News all have Republicans leading, but between 2 and 4 in that congressional ballot. So the most important thing to be asking is, what does this mean for what you should do? What is this?
He's getting to the point. He's getting to the point of his whole business model. Their whole business model, Nick, is placated on the blue team, and that's where he's getting to right here.
This mean for what I should do? And it means that we should vote. Just worry about you. You have one vote. Make sure that you use it. I have one vote. I will sure as hell make sure that I am using it. And then in 6 days, 6.5 days, 7 days, it'll be Wednesday morning. We will all have a very clear picture of where this all shakes out. But I would be lying to you. And I know every time, whenever I do this, people write to me and they say, David, you bastard. You're discouraging people from voting by saying Democrats have lost.
TJ, according to his audience, according to David's audience, he's the radical.
He
David
is.
Liberals' audience look at David like, oh my God, this dude is the next known Chomsky.
What are you doing this weekend, Robbie? I'm going home. I'm getting some wine, and I'm going to go watch some David Pakman. I'm in a Malcolm X mood, so I'm watching some David Pakman tonight. That's what people do. But yeah, so as you can see,
I'm showing this in response because I've seen quite a few of this. Now, in response to a lot of these polling disasters that people are saying, now Democrats are like, this is actually a secret collusion of Republican pollsters that's trying to turn down. I've seen many people, it's like a coordinated talking point. They're like, oh, if you actually look at the polling, it's Republican pollsters that want to discourage voters. They are in massive cope mode for sure. I found something that's interesting. Do you have anything else you want to share on that story, CJ?
No.
I literally just found this.
If we don't have any more on this story, we can absolutely close this story off. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is interesting. This don't have to be a long story. I literally just found this. Over half of Americans believe that both Democrats and Republicans do such a poor job that a third major party is needed. Meanwhile, David Schroeder, the NATO left, they are throwing water on this idea when Americans are ready. That's why it doesn't make sense that the anti-third party left, that coalition that tried their best, like, oh, we did the third party never win. We shouldn't be focused on that. Americans are ready. They just waiting for a group to lead by example. They waiting for something to prop up. They think the Green Party and Libertarian Party sucks right now. But if we ever get a real working class movement started and we get a third party that's starting growing, I think American people will get on board. Anyway, once again, I actually didn't play that segment. That's literally a live reaction to me. Actually, maybe I should read the first paragraph or two. I'll read just the first paragraph.
Yeah, let's listen.
This is literally just a live reaction to it. I literally saw that. I think this is important to literally just talk about real quick. Let's see what the data says. Hopefully I didn't pull up a bullshit article. The headline's not guaranteed to make a good story, guys. More than half of Americans believe the current parties do such a poor job that a third major party is needed. More minor parties have started seeing an uptick in support and interest in the recent years. So now is the time. So this is from Pew Research. 61% of U.S. Americans find the Republicans unfavorable, 57% Democrats. I'm trying to skim through to see if I find anything worth a damn. About a quarter of Americans say they have. So 1/4 of Americans. This actually lines up with my theory. 1/4 of Americans say fuck both parties. So the first part, the reason why I say the first part, I didn't really care about this part because it's pretty much just like, hey, who's partisan? This one down, this right here is the most important part. About 1/4 of Americans say they have an unfavorable view of both major parties. This is not the narrative you hear from MSNBC or even the TYT left. People keep pretending it's only the Democrat or Republican Party, and they pretend that people are divided. Oh my God, we live in a divided countries. There are Republicans, there are Democrats. No, 1/4 of this country vote Democrat. 1/4 of this country vote Republican. And according to this new study, 1/4 of the people say fuck all of them, and then the other 1/4 are probably people who are apathetic. And remember, CJ, what we say for our theory of change, we don't really need to go after the partisans. We need to go after the people who say fuck both parties and the people who are apathetic. Then get like 15 to 20% of the population. Then boom, we have a movement. Do you guys see how the reformists left? The NATO left now, how I'm calling all of them now. They cannot articulate their theory of change. We can on RBN. They can't articulate a theory of change. David Pakman advice for his viewers: come on, man, just vote for 6 days and pray. That's literally it. But I have one last story, and I got bounced. I don't know how long the story is gonna be. This is the Cuba story, CJ. So
let's do it.
If you want to do a check real quick. And then
if we're switching stories, let me.
This is my last story. I don't think it'll be a super long story. Also, we got JB and Savvy show in an hour. Thursday's always a good day. Thursday, we talk about sport. Thursday probably my favorite day of the week.
Thursdays is my favorite day of the week. Not outside of podcasting, but Thursdays do provide a lot of content. Yeah. But if you are just watching this on replay, or you just got here an hour and a half, 2 hours in, and you wish you were here earlier, join our Substack, and we generally send out notifications anywhere between 30 minutes and a few hours before we start, just to give you a notification so you can be here live if you have the time. Also, like the stream. We're currently at 390 likes with 450 people watching. So can we push this to 425? Let's push to 425 likes. That should get a few more people in here for Nick's final story. If I have a little time, I might do a short story after you take off if I have a short story to fill in. But go ahead, Nick. Passing it back to you.
I asked Robbie when I debated him on the Hill, what is the excuse for the United States that we got Skid Row? That 1 in 5 kids live in poverty in this country using their dog shit statistics. They're using their made up low numbers. Still 1 in 5 kids live in poverty. We got millions of people homeless. And what is the giant Western power that is sanctioning us? So for the people who think capitalism is the dominant central planning model, explain Cuba, a country that has been embargoed, and studies show they had lost hundreds of billions of dollars because of the Cuban embargo. Despite that, Cuba has a higher literacy rates than we do, higher life expectancy than we do, better education than we do. They have a lung cancer vaccine. The quality of life is better despite the embargo. So I'm asking capitalists, what's your excuse? Things are not perfect in Cuba. I don't want to paint that picture. I don't think even Cubans would. But they got basic social services like healthcare that we don't. Their healthcare system is so good, they export doctors and nurses who train doctors in other countries, despite the sanctions. And everyone around the world sees what's happening, especially the rise of BRICS, the rise of this new global community that is rebuking the West. So everyone knew the Cuban embargo was bad, but U.S. had unipolar dominance of the globe. Now, this is the most interesting story in politics, guys. The weakening of U.S. influence because the rise of China. Now that people have an option to do business with China, a few decades ago, if you question the Cuban embargo, cut off. Good luck building that economy. If you question us, now there's alternative modes of trade. BRICS, another alternative polarity that's being established. Now countries are being more bold in criticizing the United States. So isn't it funny when you hear from Anthony Blinken, Mike Pompeo in the United States, the world is against Russia. Vladimir Putin miscalculated because now he invaded Ukraine. Now the entire global community is against him. The entirety of the world wants the U.S. rules-based order. Meanwhile, the rest of the world is rejecting that. Now, I'm going to show you guys these stories. You had former Latin American leaders urge U.S. to change on Cuba. So that came out a few days ago, which is interesting. You see a lot of great quotes from very prominent South American leaders that's standing in solidarity for Cuba. Finally, like you see left flanks in the global South that'll speak for Cuba. For the most part, they're very silent, right? You have former Colombian leaders, former Brazilian president, just to name a few, the former leaders of Bolivia and Belize. Now, so I want to read this. Notably absent were signatures from right-wing politicians. Remember what I said about South American politics? It's literally a class war. It's not like South American, a lot of countries like Brazil are very socially conservative. So the culture war that we have is not the same as it's down there. It's literally just straight up, you got the white bourgeoisie fighting the black indigenous and the poor workers. That's Brazil, that's Venezuela, the same in Colombia. And now
they're all religious. They're all religious. So the religious fight doesn't work as it works down here because they're all religious. Yeah.
I explained this on my call-in show yesterday. Maybe they're on YouTube. I'm doing too many shows. I'm mixing them up. But I explained before, people were saying Bolsonaro is propped up by the evangelical vote. You had Lula who got like 70% of the black evangelical vote. This shows that even evangelicals, it was class divide. So you have poor evangelicals and indigenous evangelicals that were supporting Lula. But anyway, the point of the story, so I don't go too off track, is that the same right-wing class warriors in the global South that are usually propped up by the U.S. intelligence agencies and national security apparatus was the only people against this. But now, I saw that a few days ago. Now, this came out sometime this morning. Because I was just going to report on this. I saw this today, which is extremely interesting. The rules-based order of the United States is collapsing. Other countries see through you. The UN overwhelmingly to condemn U.S. embargo of Cuba. Base as hell. And guess who the only two countries to vote no? The United States and Israel. Surprise, huh? The genocidal apartheid state of Israel is down for the genocidal sanctions in Cuba. So you had 185 countries supporting the commendation, the United States and Israel opposing it, Brazil and Ukraine abstaining. So Ukraine, in Brazil, I think this vote was still made because Bolsonaro was still in power, right? Hopefully I'm not getting that wrong, but so both
he's still in power now. He's like.
So think about it. You had the United States, Israel, Bolsonaro influenced government, and the Nazis in Ukraine. The only people to vote against lifting the Cuban embargo. And you guys want to know why RBN don't fuck with the Nazis in Ukraine now? Do you guys understand why? Ukraine is one of the most far-right fascist countries in the world. They used to write about it. Ukraine, the most corrupt country in Europe. That's a headline from corporate media. They used to write about it. So you guys see, this is the West, the new axis of evil. I said it before, the axis of evil is United States, Israel, and Saudi Arabia. I'm throwing Ukraine in the mix now. You got Ukraine, because now they've been
they volunteered. Yeah, they volunteered to get in that, to get on that list. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's a great development. And I told you guys before, this is why this story of the battle between the United States and China, the United States waging war against Russia and via a proxy in Ukraine, these are the most important stories. That's why it's always hilarious whenever you see these TYT people like, we are the real news. We look at Nina, nothing covering stuff like this. This is the most important story. People in Africa waking up, the Lula movement in Brazil, who are for strengthening BRICS, and they calling out NATO. So whenever you see the corporate news and wherever you see the progressive pretend, oh, the world stands with Ukraine, nigga, they are talking about the former colonial powers, and that's it.
They ain't
That's
talking
it.
about you. It's a
So
small
that's
club,
segment.
and you
That's
ain't in
segment,
it.
TJ. That segment. Once again, I clipped that. I want to make sure I get that Cuba story out. So we keep that about maybe like a 5 to 8 minute segment, something like that.
Yeah. So what do you have coming up? When people gonna see you next? Because I'm gonna let you go, and then I'm gonna do another short story.
Yeah, bet. So I have fun time on Revolutionary Discourse. I'm gonna try and do a Friday night because I've been doing that for the last few weeks. Friday night.
You had a lot of people last night. I think I saw like 100.
Yeah, I would do way better on this. I'll do way better on calling if I were more consistent. People literally never know when I go on calling, but our callings be popping now. So like I usually do a roundtable format on my calling. So usually just a conversation with the RBN community. That was literally is like it's like the RBN community, and then every once in a while we get someone outside the community who chats. The funnest and most memorable moment I had is when it was me, Zoya. It was Delilah was there, I think. No, Zaina, not Delilah. Zaina was there, and then we were all chilling. It was like 8 of us in the round table, talking radical politics. And this person was like, I don't appreciate you guys repeating, proving talking points. And then we all just roasted this dude. So I love the RBN community hangout that we do on Call-In. So I definitely plan those on Friday nights. And so make sure you check me out. I'm gonna take a break on YouTube tomorrow. I'll be on Call-In tomorrow night, and then my Saturday show on Saturday. I'm gonna book again, maybe Nick and Zoya. Saturday is usually a good time for me to do my guest slot. So we see. So that's what I have coming up. Thank you guys, and I'm sure make sure you guys stay tuned for CJ last story. And JB and Stabby is at 5 Central, so it's in an hour from now. So we got a lot of content for you guys. Anyway, thank you guys. I'm gonna head out. Have a good one.
All right, Nate. See you later, bro. All right, so I just stand on to cover a little bit more. Or I'm sorry, this other story. 1 second here as I pull it up. I'm seeing some other videos. Anyway, so here is the story. Let me share it. Is it not working? Okay. All right, so it's in the description. We weren't sure if we're going to get to it, but this is an important story to go with the Democratic Party and Republican Party. There is some bipartisanship in the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, and that's both of them are pushing pro-police narratives, both parties. And this article by believe it or not, Teen Vogue, and here and there they do some good articles. I think they have like some guest writers, and I believe this person who we're going to read this article on is one of them. So let's read this now. If you want to find this article, it's titled "Crime and the 2022 Midterms. Both parties are pushing a pro-war narrative." Both parties are pushing a pro-war narrative. Let's blow this up a little bit. I'm just going to read some of this because it's pretty not eye-opening, but interesting. Let's leave it there. So let's read. So it's been 2 years since Net or Kati, or how do you say that again? Content wearing those the black African cloth. I forget how you say it. But anyway, wearing Democrats took a knee in an effort to hijack the George Floyd uprising for their own electoral benefit. Now, ahead of the 2022 midterms, those same Democrats, let me blow this up a little more here. Really big. There we go. Here we go. Those same Democrats are doing their darndest to distance themselves from the defund movement and the anti-police sentiment that took the streets in the summer of 2020. Now, I'll pause here. So they're pointing out in this article right off the bat, the same Democrats who were all in their African garments during the George Floyd protests, even marching with some of the protests. Those same people are the same ones that's doing the darnest to distance themselves from the defund the police movement and claim to fund the police and care about the police. Let's continue with the article. As Republicans push crime as a key midterm issue, the Democrats' offensive strategy has been a desperate attempt to out Blue Lives Matter their opposition, I should say. President Biden set the tone at the State of the Union, saying that the answer is not to defund the police, it's to fund the police, end quote. House Democrats proceeded to pass the Invest to Protect Act, which would give $300 million over 5 years to qualifying local law enforcement departments. The Senate has passed its own version of the bill, but the legislation has not yet reached Biden's desk. According to a New York Times report, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee sent a memo in March instructing Democrats that they need to proactively defend themselves against Republicans falsely tying them to the defund movement. After testing multiple strategy, the DCCC advised that a clear statement opposing defund the police, as well as a statement laying out the Democrats what Democrats do support when it comes to crime and policing, was the most successful approach. While the investment in the Protect Act is not yet law, the bill gives Democrats a concrete way to demonstrate their support for the police. Authoring the Senate version of the bill has helped shield Georgia Senator Reverend Ralph Warnock, who is running in a close race for re-election, from claims he's out to get the police. In a roundtable discussion hosted by Fox News Digital, Republican challenger Herschel Walker alleged, quote, "The guy I'm running against, he demonized police officers by calling them names. The police don't trust him," end quote. Yet even Fox admitted that targeting Warnock as soft on crime may not be so easy, given Warnock's work on police funding legislation. What's most annoying about the Republicans using the defund movement against Democrats is that it's pretty obvious the party never really supported the idea of reallocating police funds from community services anyway. Democrats have long been paranoid about being seen as weak on crime. Historically, they are the party that gave us the 1994 crime bill. Because of that same reason, this is me interjecting. Because of the same reason we're soft on crime, we're doing the crime bill. See how we're not soft? Which Biden authored and former President Clinton signed into law. Sure, there may be some outliers like Representative Cori Bush, who has been one of the few congressional members who hasn't backed away from using the slogan. But when it comes to supporting law enforcement, protecting private property, and deploying police against communities during unrest, Democrats do it, in fact, back the blue. As Speaker Nancy Pelosi said during a 2017 town hall, the Democrats are a capitalist party, and if you're a capitalist party, and if you're a party of capitalism, then you're also arguably a party of the police, because police are the protectors of private capital and racial dominance. As I said, there are some articles over at Teen Vogue that they do some good work. It's not on a weekly basis, but this is actually a fantastic article to go read yourself. I'm going to read maybe a couple more paragraphs for the segment. We'll cut it for later. How do you spell bipartisan? Bipartisan. I think that's how you say it. With Okay. Narrative. All right, I'm putting up a different banner because the segment is actually about how both red and blue, bipartisan with pro-police narrative. I think I spelled bipartisan wrong, right? If I didn't, let me know in the comments. But let's finish out the part we're going to read of this article. Fear-mongering about crime is a clever old tactic that plays on America's inherent anti-blackness and radical fears, racialized fears. And this is so on point. Crime going up has always been used as a tactic during elections. And this goes back to literally the early 1900s. And it's based on the fear of the it's based on the criminalized it's based on the image of the criminalized black male. So let me read this first part again. Fear-mongering about crime is a clever old tactic that plays on Americans' inherent anti-blackness and racialized fears. One of the most impactful examples of racist law and order messaging occurred during the 1988 presidential election between Republican George H.W. Bush and Democratic opponent Michael Dukakis. Bush ran an ad about a man named Willie Horton who escaped while out of prison on a state-sanctioned weekend pass, which allowed incarcerated individuals to work or visit home. While on the run, he invaded the home of a white couple, raping one of the individuals. Dukakis supported the weekend pass program, which was instituted by a Republican governor and similar to programs in other states. The ad is seen as a dog whistle, tapping into white fears of black men as threatening predators who want to rape white women. Bush won, and Dukakis' defeat was a political lesson that Democrats carry with them into the following presidential election. More than 30 years later, the dog whistles continue. In the Wisconsin race with Democratic Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes is challenging Republican Senator Ron Johnson for the seat. The attack ads have recalled Bush-Horton strategy. One ad opens with a narrative saying, quote, "What happens when criminals are released because bail is set dangerously low?" End quote. It then cuts to a scene of driver Daryl Brooks plowing into a Christmas parade. During his career, Barnes has advocated for eliminating cash bail in Wisconsin, arguing it allows the wealthy to buy their way out of jail. Barnes has said pretrial detention should still be enforced when there was convincing evidence that particular defendants pose a substantial risk to the public. So, like I said, you can go and read the rest of the article. It's fairly long. It's not too long, but it's fairly long. But this is a great article that kind of talks about how both parties are actually the parties of the police state and also the military industrial complex. I think we're going to end it there. Not without first doing a quick little Twitter check to make sure I'm not missing anything that's hot on Twitter. So I'm gonna since it's hot actually, not just on Twitter, but let's see. Oh wow. This goes with the earlier topic. Ryan Knight, I am a sucker for the Democrats vote for us or democracy dies messaging that they roll out every election. It wasn't until I looked behind their rhetoric and paid attention to how they govern that I realized there is no democracy to save. Both parties serve the oligarchy. And that is a great tweet from Ryan Knight, friend of the show, friend of the network. Let's go now to what is trending. Let's see if there's anything we need to report in the news that is breaking. I'll just read the headline. Image of headline attributed to CNN falsely reporting Trump's death is fabricated. fact checkers report. Oh, somebody reported he was dead. I missed that. Don Lemon is trending, I'm sure, because his show flopped. Bombs, yeah, that's the first thing that pops up. So Don Lemon is trending. What's driving Georgia's record voter turnout? That's another story. The multiverse, Fidelity, Miss Argentina. Okay, so it doesn't look like anything big. Let's see what's trending with Jeff Bezos. Oh, wow. Jeff Bezos is looking into buying the Washington Commanders and may partner with Jay-Z on the purchase. Breaking, Jeff Bezos is interested in buying the Commanders franchise. So obviously it's been announced that the Commanders franchise is going to be being sold, and I did not know that. Hypocrisy is condemning Kyrie Irving for sharing the link. Oh, never mind. They're getting to something else. Okay, so that's what's happening with Jeff Bezos. Let's see if there's any other stories that breaking news that I could break right now. Is there? Okay, so no, nothing from there. CNN mornings. It doesn't look like anything else, at least that corporate media deems to be important or newsworthy, is listed there. So I will continue to see if there's anything else trending for me. Of course, something about Elon Musk. All right, so I think that's it. So we're going to end it here. Thank you, everybody who came and watched this stream today. End of democracy. This was a funny take on their take on how democracy is ending, and that's what the attempt was, at least for today's stream. And let's now pull up our final clip that's gonna close us out. I'm not sure I'm gonna be here tomorrow. If there's some news, what's today's Thursday? I could be here tomorrow. We'll see. But if there's some news definitely to cover, I will. But if there's not, if there's no real stories, I probably will take the day off. But we're gonna leave you with which historical story I want to leave you, or video. Actually, let's go to her again. I like this video. So we're gonna close out with this video. I may be here tomorrow, but if not tomorrow, definitely one of the days on the weekends I shall be here. Let me actually toss up some of your comments on my way out here and see where we're at on that. All right, so let's see. Lots of comments flooding in all of a sudden. Let's see. We're at 451 likes. Can we push that to 500 before we end? Can we push that to 500 before we end? And let me toss up some of your comments. I'd love to share this article. Where do I find it? That's Teen Vogue. It is the latest article, Teen Vogue, and under their politics section, you can check it out. Let's see here. Maybe let's see. Oh yeah. Jay-Z. Anyway, let's toss up. But yeah, I'm gonna be heading out. Bye, everybody. CJ sounding like Katie Halpert. Thank you, CJ. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, RBN and comrades. Thanks, CJ. Thanks, CJ. Big love from Southampton, UK. International flavor. Thank you for watching, everybody. Let's close out with this video here. Let's see here.
The thing is that, as far as I'm concerned, since we met you people 500 years ago, look at us. We've given everything. You are still taking. It's true. I mean, where will the whole Western world be without Africa? Our cocoa, our timber, our gold, our diamonds, our platinum, our whatever, everything you are is us. I am not saying it, it's a fact. And in return for all of this, what have we got? Nothing. Anti-personnel indoctrination against ourselves. If you go and cook your horrible diseases like AIDS, you say it is us. You brought us tuberculosis. We didn't have this big cough until white people came here. In exchange for Africa giving Europe 500 solid years of our people, I mean, not Europe, the Western world, of our human beings to work your canes, to dig your gold, to take in gold itself, diamond, I mean, you know, fish, peanuts, palm oil, everything. In exchange for that, we have got nothing. Nothing. And you know it. Nothing. And you look upon, you know, white folks look upon us like monkeys. It is true. It's in your literature. Hey, you know, some of your best thinkers have said this about us. Have you heard of all these Germans? Have you heard? Okay. Yes. They said, Lord Burton, yes. People like that, they said, we don't even have the brain of animals. That's what we've got from you people.
But don't you think that this is over now?
Over where? Is it over? Who said that AIDS came from the green monkey?